I'm in Tribeca, and all of a sudden I feel the ground shaking again. I turn around. The next tower's coming down.
What's going through your mind when you see that second tower go down?
I didn't see the first one. I didn't see anything else. So now I'm seeing it actually go down. I was like, what the heck?
The conspiracy about how Titanic was an inside job, it went down on purpose.
Why people had money on it?
That there was like a lot of insurance
Yeah,
guys.
One thing I don't go for is 9/11 though. Like it's an inside job. I'm like, yeah, don't think so.
Yeah, that.
Oh, I'm Italian. I'm this, that. Oh, when did the family come over here? Oh, it's like 16 generations ago.
Yeah.
So you're American.
Seeing the anchor going down, I'm like, nope, not looking down that way.
So you won't go swimming in that?
No, I went swimming in it, but like.
Do you hold on to your wife the whole time?
Yeah.
Eric, you know what you gotta do is in that.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the Burn Down Podcast. I'm Eric. That's Justin. In the studio today, we have the founder of MIOYM, private equity firm for real estate, Rob Costomiris.
I appreciate it, but I'm not the founder, just the president.
President. Yeah. President's cooler.
Scratch
anyway.
that.
President's cooler anyway.
I appreciate that uptick.
Yeah, you know, it's what you gotta do. Founder, president, almost the same
He started
thing.
that like it was like a
morning show,
like a morning
radio
show. Yeah,
well, that's what he does in his videos. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
This is CD 101.9, smooth jazz. That's what it's. That's what it sounded like. Well, that's some little Luther Vandross.
Well, we got Rob in the studio, MIOYM's president, not the founder, president. Yes. What's up, brother?
How are you? Thanks for having me, fellas. Appreciate it.
Hey,
thanks for coming, man.
we just had, we just wanted to have you in. We saw you on last Tuesday. You're like, when can I get on the podcast?
Yeah.
We had a nice opening.
6 hours later.
Yeah.
That
We're
was
serious.
Yeah. I want to get. Well, let's go. Let's make it happen.
We're all sales guys. We like to just close and execute. Get the appointment on the board.
Hey,
shoot your shot.
It doesn't
right?
happen right away.
Come on.
It was literally. This is within a week.
Yeah.
This is within a week.
Because we were supposed to have another guest. I had to cancel, and I said, "All right, Rob, I'm gonna text him right now." And now he's like, "Yeah, I'm in." I'm like,
so I was
perfect.
I was the second.
No, you were on the board, but you were on the first on my mind because this was already scheduled, and I was like,
it was either gonna happen a month from now or
now.
Yeah. Like it was gonna happen one way or another.
So you're here. We're here.
I'm here. That's all I care about.
Smoking the Diligence, hanging out with you.
Yeah, that's the name of this one, Diligent.
The Diligent.
The Diligent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one we actually the little story behind this for people that have heard it, you haven't, but so we came up with the blueprint, right? Being that everybody's got a mental blueprint of who they are, what they want to be, what they want to represent, how they're going to get there, right? It all starts between your ears, right? No matter what you create in this world, no matter what you do, it all starts between your ears, right? You have to create something in your brain, but then it's only the diligent ones that make whatever they have in their brain make it a reality. So that's why we came up with the Diligent.
So I was very diligent on getting you on the podcast, knowing that you wanted to be on.
That's and I appreciate that. Thank
you.
Yeah,
So
I feel loved.
And I do have to say thank you because you introduced us to Yuri at the People's Cigar up in Elmsford, New York.
Yes.
And now they carry the Blueprint and the Diligent.
Yeah. Is it there now?
It is there
It is
now.
Last time I was there, he's like, it's not here yet.
And he just told me, he's like, listen, we already had some quick turnaround. A couple of people that listened to the podcast came in and said, hey, do you have it? We heard you had it.
Shut up.
They came in, and now on November 1st,
You're
Friday,
coming?
we will be there.
Yeah,
we're going to be promoting the Blueprint and Diligent for the 1 year anniversary of the People's Cigar. So give me some skin. Thank you for that introduction.
Apparently, there's going to be some musical guests there and stuff.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Taking that whole.
Are you
going to
be DJ?
I will not be
DJ No Name.
I don't even know if I can keep up with the music now. I'm like that old guy. My daughter puts on music, and I'm wait, what is this? Who is this?
Are you like a so what's your style? Are you more like that 80s club music or like the 90s dance?
I mean, I went through it all. There's not one thing I don't like. 90s hip hop and
what about metal?
alternative is
Are you a metal guy?
1000%. I'm working out in the gym.
Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Who's some of your metal?
So I'll go to my one thing is what is it? Fuel by Metallica.
Oh.
And then I'll do a playlist from there. But then I get a little crazy.
So
that's some like old school metal.
Right, but I'll adjust it and put more songs as I'm working out.
Yeah.
Let the algorithm pick the songs for you.
I do it first, but then I kind of take over from there. So it's
me and you connected on a few 90s hip hop things through conversations. I think we were talking about Tribe Called Quest. Yeah. So
a man of many musical tastes.
Yeah,
you gotta be.
You gotta, man.
You know, the one thing I don't really listen to is country. I don't really do the country thing.
So a few years ago, would have agreed with you, but recently, like I don't know what it is, man. I've been getting into it. Like, we were out on a boat in my friend's boat in Puerto Rico.
Damn.
And there were these guys there from South Carolina, one of the Carolinas. He's like, "You mind if I put a playlist on?" I'm like, "Yeah, go for it." Puts on
Maybe lock them doors and turn the lights down low.
See, now what kind of country though? Because you can have some new.
What's his name? Who's not Luke Combs?
Zach Bryan?
Nope. He's the guy who used to write the music. Now he sings it. He made a lot of money writing music for everybody.
Morgan Wallen?
No. This is going real.
Cody Johnson?
Nope.
Darius Rucker?
Whiskey. Tennessee Whiskey.
Chris Stapleton?
Yes.
Chris Stapleton. Oh,
I know.
okay.
Well,
now
That is a good song. That is a good song.
very
Now
good
I've
song.
kind of ventured off into other things. Like I found my mojo, and it's just like for stuff like hanging out, smoking a cigar, having a few drinks with your friend. You put it on, people are like, this music's all right.
I gotta
like,
say, country music, you know, it's an environment thing for me. It has to be the right environment. Like I won't be like driving on the LIE or on the the Hutch and listening to country music in my car in traffic.
No.
But if I'm like out and about on a boat, nice summer day,
It's good boat music, good summer.
Yeah.
It's good like beach music or like pool music.
Yeah.
Good barbecue music.
If we have people over, we'll put it on like kind of in the beginning when people are getting there, and then change it up from there.
Yeah.
You know what's good about country music is it's kind of it's a genre that everybody, it's family friendly, and no matter who you are, you kind of appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
Like if you put on some 90s hip hop, maybe not everybody's gonna enjoy it, right?
My wife complains every time I put it
Oh,
on.
That's what I'm saying.
Every
right?
guy at the place is like, "Yo, sick playlist." I'm like, "I know." My wife's like, "When are you gonna turn this off?"
Yep.
So my
or
wife's
like
not a-
metal. You can't put on metal. Nobody's gonna listen to that. But if you put on some country, I would listen to it. Little like no, if you get some little. There's two different types of metal though.
Do you hear? That's Chop Suey, right?
No, that's
That's
Did you hear
Disturbed.
the crazy thing about Chop Suey?
no.
There's what's his name? Long hair, makes music for everybody. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. They came in and he helps people with their music.
The record guy.
Yeah.
Jay-Z.
Not Jay-Z.
No, he wrote Jay-Z
he wrote a
99
lot.
Problems,
Yep.
and then he gets shot in that music video. What the fuck's his name?
Man, this is not going.
He's a
well for
gajillionaire.
I'll find it. I'll
Should have
find
done
it.
the research first.
I'll find it.
Long hair, glasses.
I'll find it. Long
Anyway.
hair, music producer.
So he comes in, and who's Chop Suey?
Jay-Z.
Who's Chop Suey? What's the name of their
System of a Down.
Yeah. So they were having problem linking up the chorus.
Rick
and the
Rubin?
riff. Yep,
Rick Rubin, yes, thank you.
So what he does is he helps people create music. So they had this song. They didn't know how to merge the chorus and the riff or whatever you call it. I don't know.
And this is the Chop Suey song.
Yeah.
So System of a
he's
Down
with-
came in to Rick to this guy.
I think it. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was like one day, and he's like, "All right, come back tomorrow. We'll come up with something." So they're sitting in his library, and he's like, "I got nothing for you." He goes, "Do me a favor, grab a book." They're like, "Which one?" He's like, "Anyone." And it's on the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So they grab a book, they open it up, and he's like, "Read a line." He goes, "That's the line right there." So they put it in there right before it goes like real crazy.
What's the
I love
what's
that.
what's the book? What's the line? We got to find
I
this
don't
now.
know the book, but the line.
All right, so
Put in Chop Suey. Put the
so
song-
Chop
You just Google it. Do
Suey.
Chop Suey Rick Rubin edition.
Rick Rubin.
I love little
book. Here it
tidbits
is.
like that with
So
songs.
I
That's
love
the
how
best.
stuff gets created.
You know, another fun fact.
the book.
So
So he said it's the Bible.
I think he said
So
pull
he-
off any book off my shelf, and it happened to be a Bible.
So he said there's a okay. So this is from Reddit. Okay, there's a story where Rick Rubin opened a book and used a line, and this one said it was Chop Suey. The book was the Bible, and the lyric is "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit."
Yeah. And then when you listen to the song, you'll never be able to unhear it. It's the craziest thing.
That's a good fun fact.
Yeah. Right?
So you know "Life in the Fast Lane" by the Eagles. Life in the Fast. So there's a great 3-hour documentary about the Eagles, right? And they came up with that song because I forgot the one guy in the band. He was the badass. He punched people in the face. I forgot his name. He passed away back in like 2014 or whatever. But he got the name Life in the Fast Lane because they were in a recording studio and they wanted to score some coke or something like that. So their drug dealer came to the studio. He's like, "We got to go back to my house and get it." And he's like, "Really? I got to go with you?" So the guy from the Eagles is in the passenger seat with his drug dealer, and they're weaving in and out. And he's like, "Bro, what are you doing?" He goes, "Life in the Fast Lane, brother." And he's like, "That's a song." And they just went back and did it.
Isn't it so crazy? How
Nuts. And I was talking to my brother the other day. Like he sent me some musician or some song, and I said, I will still never understand how people can just make music. They can play guitar, they can play a drum, they can sing. They just know like what sounds good or how to do it and like just create out of thin air. Like it's so amazing to me.
Yeah, I think it was Jelly Roll.
Roll.
Can just sit there and just play the guitar or some instrument and just comes up with like lines just for stuff.
I love Jelly Roll. He's got a great story.
Great story.
Great story. Would love to get him on the show. I don't even know if he smokes cigars, but like his, I don't know if have you heard his story?
Yeah, I don't know his story.
It's a great story. It was from like true rags to riches. Got caught up in the wrong people in the prison, like wrong.
Was like a loser for he says that. Not me.
No, he says the whole thing
for the longest time.
And then he says he was in prison. He found God and had his baby while he was in prison. And he's like, it was a come to moment where he found Jesus and was like, I need to. What the hell? What am I doing here? God help me. And he's like, it was just somebody. It was like somebody removed.
Like a light switch went on.
Yeah, he goes, it was like somebody had removed the glasses, and it was, I'm a new person.
That's
and
amazing.
now he's selling out arenas.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's
praising the Lord. Like it's wonderful.
Well, his music now is all a part of him. He says, everything that I write is a part of who I am.
That's awesome.
He had a song. It's called Need a Favor. I don't know if you've heard this song.
Yeah.
But when I first heard it, I was like, it like hit me. And I was like kind of getting emotional listening to this song. Because he says I'm gonna pull it up, the lyrics, so I don't butcher the
don't butcher it. Don't ruin the moment.
Need
bro.
a favor lyrics.
Chop suey.
So
don't chop suey that motherfucker.
He says the chorus goes, I only talk to God when I need a favor, and I only pray when I ain't got a prayer. So who the hell am I to expect a savior if I only talk to God when I need a favor?
Yep.
Damn. And I was like, shit. And
bring that back one more time. What?
Yeah. So it goes, I only talk to God when I need a favor, and I only pray when I ain't got a prayer. So who the hell am I to expect a savior if I only talk to God when I need a favor?
Damn.
And I was like, shit.
Talk it.
You know,
talk, brother.
So
preach.
He's talked about a lot.
Preach, brother. Preach.
But he has a lot of songs like that where and they're just.
I before we get to. We got to know who Rob is. I don't understand what MIOYM.
I was going to ask
you, right?
I was going to ask you, but then we started going into music.
But I do want to do one more fun fact about or tidbit of music. So, do you guys know Clint Eastwood, the song by the Gorillaz?
Yes.
Yeah.
I ain't happy. So that song is like, a million times platinum or whatever. It's a huge song. So I watched another like.
Why is it even called Clint Eastwood?
I forgot, but there's a reason for it. But the beat, the. Dum, 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 dum. He's like, yeah, I made that like on like my dollar piano machine. It's like the first like auto beat that comes on it. And he's like, I just fucking made that the song. I was like, see, like I don't get how people just make that. Now it's a worldwide hit for a million years.
You gotta see. So you guys both know Soulja Boy, right? Remember when Soulja Boy came out with the Crank That and all Spider-Man, whatever. Soulja Boy. I don't know if there's a video of him. He made his entire first album. There is a program called Fruity Loops. Have you ever heard of this program? But it's like it's a music producing program, right? It's a platform, a program you can put in. You have all these. You can type in all the code and you can push the buttons. And
it's a preset.
He made his entire first album on the demo version, the free demo version of Fruity Loops. And there's a video, and he's like, I made my whole album on Fruity Loops. He's like, I got Fruity Loops here. He's like, hey, let me show you, right? He's like, you know that yah trick yah, where there's like two sounds. He goes, I just clicked this button and sound popped up, and I went bam, 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 and then he goes yah trick yah, and he made a whole fucking sold millions of copies.
Kajillionaire.
He goes, I was using the free demo version on my little tiny computer, pushing the A button and the B button, just. And
it's crazy how the creativity some of these people have.
It's
and if you listen to the
truly
songs,
true.
it's like the simplest shit, but made a banger. It's what happens. Anyway, all right.
So Rob Costomiris.
Yeah, now that we're 15 minutes in,
we're here.
People
in
don't
the
even know who the
podcast
guest
studio
is.
With the burn down. From Wallstreet to the president of MIOYM. MIOYM, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
What's your story? Who are you? What the hell do you do?
I'm a nobody.
Just an average Joe?
Just an average Joe.
Well, you're a somebody because you're on the Burnout Podcast.
Yes, so. Exactly.
Appreciate that.
That's a compliment in itself.
Yeah, where do I begin? You want the DJ story, don't you?
Who was Rob in high school? I always like to ask people that.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you come from? Like, how did you get to where you are today? And yes, we do want to hear the DJ story.
In high school, I was the class clown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, did you always know that you wanted to go into finance, like into
No.
Wall Street and stuff? Yeah. So tell us about that.
I
Like,
went to-
how? Because not many people go onto Wall Street and then they leave Wall Street and now they're.
Yeah. No, I went to a year. So my whole family, my father's a doctor, my uncle's a doctor, my grandfather's an electrical engineer, higher education. It was always known that I had to go to college. But I was like, do I?
Like, I don't really want to do this.
I didn't know. I had no clue, but it was just like I had to go, so I'm going. I went to 1 year of college. Dude, if I was there for 4 years, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
I came home and I said to my father, I was like, Father? I didn't say father. I can't waste your money anymore.
Now, hold on. Let me back up. Would you have been dead because of like the schooling, or would you have been dead because you were partying your ass off?
Partying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just said this to my wife, and she's like, "Oh, you failed out of college." I go, "Actually, I did not fail out. I got C's and D's." And
C's get degrees, man.
for 2 semesters, if I went to 3 weeks of school, that was a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got C's and D's.
Where'd you go to college for?
Mount Ida College.
Oh, that's right,
It's
Mount
no
Ida.
longer in existence. UMass Amherst purchased them.
Really?
Mount
Yeah.
Ida. Is
Yeah.
it? That's in Massachusetts.
Newton, Massachusetts. Yeah.
And what were you doing up there? That was.
Well, that's a better question. Probably, what weren't you doing?
Yeah. What were
I
you?
I was
doing?
finding myself.
Yeah. Okay.
I was finding
Yeah,
myself.
brother. I'm
Yeah.
finding myself.
Yeah.
So you were partying.
Yeah. I had a good time too.
I was gonna say, so you enjoyed your 1 year of college, yeah.
But kudos to you to recognize it, not being like every other spoiled college kid coming
Yeah,
home and
no,
saying, "Dad, I'm wasting your money. I can't do this
My
anymore."
father didn't talk to me for like, I don't know. It was my grandfather and my father. One was 6 months, one was a year. I think it was my father was like 6. Listen, when I say don't talk, it was,
No, he was just disappointed in you for 6
it
months.
was mandatory speaking. Come on, let's go. You know, whatever. But there was
He made
no
sure that you knew he was
He
disappointed.
wasn't calling you up
every
and saying,
day.
"Hey, how you doing today?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
He would call you up and be like, "Hey, you made a
stupid
stupid decision."
It's kind of like, what are you doing today?
Yeah.
Loser.
Yeah.
He didn't say that,
Drop out.
You knew.
but my grandfather too, like, spoke to me, but not really.
He was an
wasn't
electrical engineer?
bad. Yeah. My grandfather, to this day, now it's probably more popular. Polarized magnets for a huge magnet factory.
Really?
Yeah. How crazy is
Wow.
that?
That's
Like,
nuts.
he actually was responsible for the polarization of magnets.
Injecting the protons and the
Did
electrons.
you feel a lot of pressure to go to college and be like in the next generation of?
No, I
Student-
didn't. No, I didn't. That's why I didn't know.
What
That's
did
why I
you
was
What did you go for? Did you go for anything or no?
Liberal arts,
Business.
business ethics.
Business ethics.
Yeah, so that didn't go over well. Then I did a couple odds and ends things, and then partied more, and then started DJing.
DJ No Name.
DJ was after college.
Somebody said, my cousin owns a DJ company. They pay $100 for 4 hours. I was like,
Sign me
all
up.
right, great. All I had to do was play.
And
on
when was
CDs.
this? When was
was
this?
in 97.
You're getting $25 an hour to just spin a couple, push play.
Yeah, no, not even. It
Were you
was
an
just-
iPod DJ?
No, they weren't out yet.
I know, but you got like, play. Next song,
So
blend it into the next song.
So when I
Back
first
then, it was a
started,
lot harder.
yes, when I first started, that's how you start out. But
Yeah.
then you kind of learn how to.
You blend. You just
Yeah.
you slowly
You learn how to mix music.
you bring out the volume and
Yeah.
bring it the other
Yeah,
one.
no, that's.
Believe it or not, there's a lot of bad DJs out there that don't know the right transitions.
My wife hates going to weddings because I
Oh,
tuned my own
dude.
horn, but I got really good. I knew how to control a party
Yeah,
and how to switch gears when people just.
sure.
Yeah.
There's a way to. So when you do let's just call it a wedding. When you do a wedding, you have to get the older people out of the way at first. You have to get them up dancing, older stuff. It
They're
doesn't
gonna
have to
tire
be
out.
old-
They're gonna
The
be like,
Sinatras, the Dean
Right.
Martins.
Yeah.
The good ones will dance all night long. The family members dance all night long. But you have to give them their music at first, and then you have to like slowly go into the younger folk.
yeah, because the older ones aren't going to be up until midnight partying and dancing.
Right. So you got to give them their music. You got to
Yeah.
let them, and this is how you appease everybody. Like there's an actual process.
Oh,
to
there's a
party.
whole.
There's
Yeah,
definitely
people don't
an artwork.
realize it. There's a whole
Yeah.
formula on how to play with people's emotions
I
and
just
how
don't
to get
get when
them.
DJs when you got the crowd pumping, yeah, and then they transition to like, and you're like,
yeah,
wow, where did you think that was a good idea?
So there's I'm not saying all DJs are like, and this is why my wife hates going to parties with me because I'm like, this guy sucks.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
So sometimes the place will ask you to sit people down, but a good DJ will be like, when I see the first, plates of food coming out being served, that's when I'll sit everybody down. But just know that I'll sit.
You'll wind them down a
The
little
places
bit.
that are good want to control it, but a DJ that's good can control it without stepping on their toes. So yeah, they want you to control, but there's a way that you could bring it down without just bringing it down. You kind of like let the song, kind of end, but you start talking before the song ends. Let people know you're gonna bring it down.
Bring down the energy.
Tell them like whatever cocktail hour start. That's not a good example, but your first course is coming out. The place wants to do toast, something like that. So
you just bring the level down bring the tempo down a little bit, kind of.
There was one place in New Jersey, we actually got married there, that was if you didn't listen to them, you never came back again. But then I got good and I started knowing how to control parties. And I'm like, hey, listen, can I do this? Can I? Like, yeah. So they know when a DJ is good and when a DJ is not good. But when a DJ is bad, oof,
what's a bad DJ? What's a bad DJ?
You're just playing music to play. You're pumping music and people are coming off the dance floor and you just keep it going, hoping people will come back. You got to change it up. You got to move it around. Like some people, I did a wedding. Oh, this is great. I did a wedding down at the Jersey Shore. It was like at a Holiday Inn Express or something. It was the lady owned a salon.
Before you get into it, how long did you DJ for?
90. No, I think I started when I graduated, 94, 95. So it had to be 96 to 2001.
Oh, all right, yeah. So good.
Okay, so you got 5 years.
Yeah, I was booked out for a year and change when I left.
So you got to the point where you're.
This party is the reason I left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you got to a point where you're in it. You're a DJ. You're not like, okay, I'm doing one-off little things. I'm booked. I'm a DJ. I know what I'm doing. I'm controlling the vibe of the party. I'm controlling like the heartbeat of the dance floor.
This is the party why he left being a DJ.
So I want to hear this, right?
Come on. This party,
this is good.
She owned a hair salon. What do most hairstylists like to do? Party, have a good time. So on every sheet is what to do and what not to do. I kind of didn't look this time. I got a little confident, and it said no club music. But I was just assuming,
Jersey Shore,
down at the Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
club music's in. Whatever. Did all the dances, all the introductions, everything. These people loved me, just loved me. I was a jokester. I was light. Like if I screwed up someone's name, I would just, make fun of myself for screwing it up. So we do the slow dance, get the old people out of the way. We get some, not classical, but big band music.
Yeah,
get the older folks up.
Yep.
So then all of a sudden, I think I just told my brother, who was my partner at the time, just put on some club music. And we had a certain set that we used, and he puts it on. Dude, I mean, I think it was a small wedding, so 100, 150 people jamming the dance floor. I was like, all right, here we go.
You're like,
Let's
now
go.
It's about to.
Yeah.
He's
about
like,
a
watch
song
this.
in, the bride comes running over. She's like, I said no club music. I was like, oh, sorry. So 2 songs in, took it right out, went to, slow music. She's like, can you play some country? Did it. A couple stragglers here and there, some rock music, some Bon Jovi, a couple people here and there. And I'm like,
but nothing like when you had the 2 club song on.
Nothing even.
Oh, so after the club music went off, they kind of straggled away.
And I was going through every little thing, all the requests they had on there. I was like, let me just try and get everything, out of it. And this is all before dinner. I'm like, oh, man.
And you probably have, as a DJ, you probably have a couple of songs that are just like, I'm playing a song. It's going to be
you make me want
like, you're gonna pop off.
I try keeping away from the.
There's
that's my favorite
There's
song.
depending on the vibe.
I'll get to it, but I try to work it in, usually after dinner when people are wasted.
There's that one song everybody knows. Like if you're kind of in that 90s hip hop and you play House of Pain, Jump Around, the place goes nuts. Because all the people know that song.
I put that on.
So
nobody.
Right. So that's what I'm getting at. Is you probably have these songs. You're like, all right, watch. They're gonna go fucking nuts. You play it and ain't nothing happening. What the? I've used all my freaking silver bullets and nothing happened here.
It was so bad. It was literally I'm sweating.
Why did you want no?
I don't know.
And she saw all the people,
saw it all,
and was like, no, we don't have any dancing at my wedding.
Dinner time comes, so now we're it's usually a 5-hour cocktail hour, 4 hours for the party. So now we're 2.5 hours into it. Dinner served, everything. So my brother's like, why don't you just ask her if we can put club music back on? You know what? I'll do that. So I walk over. I say, hey, how's everything going? Blah blah blah. I was like, hey, what are the chances I can throw some more club music on? She's like, absolutely not. Not nasty. She was just very firm. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, nope, we got to sweat this one out, bud. So I was like, all right. So I'm still trying everything else. Nothing. So it's the end of the night. So one of the bridesmaids comes over, and she's like, F her, put it on. And I was like, serious? And she's like, yeah, it's the only time you had a packed dance floor. It was club music. So I was like, all right. And there was like maybe like half hour left, something like that. Put some club music on. Bro, there wasn't a seat in the place that had an ass in it.
So what?
Everybody was dancing.
So what was with this?
Hold on.
Oh,
It gets
boy.
better.
Hold on, Justin. Hold on.
Wait. There's more.
So everyone's sweaty. I had all giveaways like the glow sticks. So I'm like, shit, get them out. I told my brothers, like, go give them out to everybody. Give them out to everybody while they're out there. They're all dancing, everything. Great time. Everyone's sweaty. It's disgusting in there. Everyone's having a good time. Bride's on the dance floor. Groom's on the dance floor. Mom's on the dance floor. Everybody's on the dance floor dancing. So afterwards, the mother was, she seemed wasted. She's like, I didn't bring my checkbook. I was like, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it on Monday. It's no big deal. Just, enjoy the rest of the party, blah, blah, blah. She's like, you sure? This and that? I'm like, yeah. So the mother tries hooking me up with the maid of honor, who was like 8 months pregnant. Not even joking. She's like,
No way.
I wish my brother was here right now. He would confirm it.
I know she's a little big, but she's single, ready to mingle.
About to be too ready to mingle.
She was a professional dancer, too.
Oh.
Not a ballet dancer.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
she's like, go home with her.
that was one of her clients' babies.
I guess. I don't know. I'm sure she may not even know.
Did she work at the Bada Bang?
Yeah, probably. No, it was more Elizabeth area.
Okay.
So my brother's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, yeah, I'm not. Definitely not.
I'm not into pregnant chicks.
No, we're not doing that. I never got paid for that party. But hold on. We get a deposit that's usually enough to cover everything. The giveaways, my brother,
to cover
me,
your expenses.
like everything's
Like,
the deposit's usually a couple $100 at, if they don't pay, you're still good.
You break even.
At least you break even.
So now comes payday. I'm already on Wall Street. I'm still training. So I need the money. I was making $150 a week on Wall Street, so I wasn't making any money. So it was
This is
payday.
right after this
No,
party?
it's like I started on Wall Street and I was still DJ. That was going to be my cash cow. I'm like, screw it. I'm booked out for a year. Like, this will get me through it. So I call up Rick, who's my boss, and he was like, yeah, so they didn't pay, so you're not getting paid. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, they had like a $500 or $600 deposit. I only get $300. My brother gets $100. The giveaways were $100. Like, covers everything. He said, yeah, but this and that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, you know what? I go, yeah, then I'm going to quit. He's like, wait, you're booked out for it was like a year and a half, something like that. I go, yeah, not my problem. I go, but if I'm going to continue to...
You don't pay, I don't play, man.
I work 80 hours a week on Wall Street now. If I'm not getting paid for the weekend, I can't do this. I'll just focus on this.
You don't pay, I don't play. That's how it works.
And that's how it ended.
Damn.
And what was the reason they didn't pay? Why didn't they pay?
Because they didn't pay. I'm like,
no, I mean, why didn't the wedding party pay?
Because I played the club music.
So they said
were
you played
complaining
something
about
that we
me.
said not to play.
Yeah, and I said, Rick, the dance floor was packed. Everybody it wasn't just that one
You
bridesmaid.
think that was a ploy that they knew that the only way to get the people dancing was to play the dance music, and so they said we're going to tell him not to play the dance music, so that when he does, we don't have to pay him.
My brother was, to this day, my brother's in shock about it. He's like,
That's
I still can't believe to this day. Like, it was not even like some people are dancing here, some people are dancing there. No. It was like nobody.
Like
for
a
anything.
noticeable difference between dance music and no dance music.
If you were at this wedding, you'd be like, yo, that was sick when they put the club music on. They should continue to put that on.
Yeah.
No, there was no comparison.
That's
It's the
crazy.
craziest thing.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you think, like, maybe they did that on purpose.
Like, I can understand, some of the, like some weddings I've been at where we say, don't, like for our wedding, when we said don't play any like the thotty music, right? Where it's like that stripper, shake your ass, thong,
the twerking music.
Twerk, don't play it, but play the club music, like the poof, poof, poof. Like get some, like play some of that, get the people go. There's music to get people going. Just don't play like the all right, my wet ass pussy music. Don't play that stuff, okay? But to play no upbeat music whatsoever.
Bro, my whole wedding was a club. Everyone was like, yo, I felt like I was at a nightclub for the whole mother effing night. It was banging.
Yo, I just said to them, I didn't want any of the cheesy dance music except for the YMCA, which they made it into a club song.
Yeah, we said the same. We said no, like Sweet Caroline, and no Journey. Don't play any Journey.
I forgot what I said.
We
no.
just said play
Journey?
like
Journey's good for like.
we
dessert.
wanted like the country, and then
okay, that's
we played Frank Sinatra and the big band music.
Yeah,
that was all like cocktail hour
Yeah.
and dinner. Then we played some like country stuff, and then towards the end of the night, it was all just It was all like the EDM.
I always wanted to be a DJ. I
but not
love
deep.
music.
It was
I
like
always
house,
wanted to
but
be
not
one.
deep house. Not
Yeah.
like you're in a
Yeah,
trance music,
yeah.
but like some of the upbeat
Not
house
like
where they
the basement.
Like the top 100 house.
Yeah,
It's like
and they
stuff
take
here.
like some of the
But
oldest,
they
like
had
the
a little
Journey
beat,
songs, and
yeah.
they would like
And
make it
beat
into a
to
house.
Oh, nah, you like the journey. See?
But we
See,
didn't want.
like
I didn't
the-
want just the traditional Journey. I didn't want the traditional Sweet Caroline.
No, but
'cause
you
it's like,
add, but that's what they did for my, because
if you flip it on its
Funny
head,
enough,
put a little. Then okay.
the guy Rick, who I quit with, was one of the guys that did my wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were the best ones I knew. How was
But
I
I
not
love.
gonna use them?
I have a Spotify playlist called Old But New, and all it is, it's all old songs like we're talking about, but with EDM beats behind it.
Yeah.
I think those are the best.
You know, it's a
Those are the
great,
best.
and I call it. It's like the wedding genre, but disco music. I feel like the disco music,
hell
you
yeah.
can play it with any crowd whatsoever,
Throw on some
And
Barry
it just-
White, bro.
and it just
Forget
has a beat,
Barry White.
and it
Come on.
has a beat that everybody can dance to. It's lively enough for the new
But you know
age,
what?
but it's old
It's-
enough for like some of the older crowd. Like,
I
oh
think it's
yeah.
getting lost now. Because when was the last time you heard a good disco song?
But that's what I'm saying. It's like you go back to like the Earth, Wind, and Fire. If you go back to some like the Studio 54.
Yeah, come on,
Dude,
son.
you play
Kidding
some
me?
of that stuff, everybody's gonna be on the floor. Because, like I said, it's got a fast enough beat where the new age, the younger crowd can dance to it, but it's
It's got the
sentimental
classical, yeah.
for some of the older crowd. And they're like, "Oh, I
Timeless.
remember this when I was in high
Timeless,
school." It's timeless shit.
Timeless.
It's got a beat. Yeah,
Come
as
on.
long as it has a beat.
When you hear Barry White, dun, 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 it's like,
Yeah.
Even if you're sitting down,
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
you got to start. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Bam, bam,
Come
bam,
on.
bam. Yeah, that's
bro,
you got him, man.
bro.
That's the
So
shit
good.
that. And imagine if she came up, can't play any of that. But what do you mean you can't play
Yeah.
any of that stuff?
That's an interesting story. So now
I
you're
actually said to Paul, who did my what I was like, listen, don't play any of the cheesy wedding music. He's like, oh great, because as a DJ you hate to play.
yeah,
it.
they all say that. I feel
I
like
said, but if you feel like it's gonna do something, just put it on, try it out.
Because there's always one drunk broad that comes
Yeah.
up. Can you play this?
But you never like a Sweet Caroline, like you hate it, but like you
Everyone's
put it
loaded.
on, and everyone's like Sweet.
Then
They're
you're like,
everybody's
all
like,
right.
you know you're even doing. You're like sitting there like, why is this song?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say don't play it. I hate that song. You put it on. I'm in
Bro,
the
when
dance
you're
floor.
singing,
when
yeah,
you've been
yeah.
boozing all day and
Yeah.
and that music comes on, you're like, all right,
Yeah.
fine, I'll get
Yeah,
down with
yeah,
this,
yeah.
you know. So now you're in Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you? So you
So-
quit that, and you were working Wall Street while you were doing it. You quit it because they didn't pay you.
So this is
now
like
you're
what?
doing
Right
Wall
after
Street
9/11, 2001, you stopped DJing.
It was September of 2000 is when I started on Wall Street, and then right about I think I was doing it for 3 or 6 months into it.
Okay.
It's September 11th was the following year. I have a crazy story for that if you want to hear that.
I do wanna
yeah,
hear
we
that.
do want to hear that.
Yeah. So
We love the
I
crazy
answered
stories.
an ad for stockbroker trainee, just like a boiler room.
What are you, Jordan Belfort?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jordan Belfort?
Yeah. And walking into the trading floors he went to penny stocks and stuff. It was like boiler room though. You walk in, like when you walk into an office, what do you think? It's gonna be quiet, reserved. Oh man, they opened the doors and it was like 100 guys standing up on the phone, screaming at each other,
Just like
pacing
the
back and
movies.
forth. Oh, exactly like it. This was a legit firm. It wasn't a boiler room, but it had that environment.
Yeah.
Is that a term now when you refer to a company as a boiler room? Is that like a term used?
Well, I think most people have it as it is a negative
Like,
connotation.
I was gonna say, is that a term? Like, where did they come up with the word boiler room?
Meaning that they're doing it in a boiler room with folding tables, like in a basement.
Oh, so
somewhere
that's
where
what it
something
means.
It's like a
happens,
shady-
they can
it's like a
fold it
shady
up.
setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now this was legit. They had desks.
So it's like a
rows.
front where if shit hits the fan, they close
you
up
could just
shop.
close
into-
up and move
So that's
on.
what it's called, a boiler
Right,
room.
right,
Oh,
right.
okay. I always wonder where
I'm
that
sure
term
some
came
people
from.
are going to comment and say that's not it. It's technically
Well,
that.
go ahead, comment, please. You know what? I would love to hear. If that's not, correct it, and then correct the person. Just keep commenting because it's engagement for us.
So I like to think of it as more of the environment, and most advisors love when you start off there. I actually got my first job at J.P. Morgan because my manager came from the Merrill Lynch environment, which was that. They since stopped it at this point, but he was like, he's like, you work in that environment? I was like, yeah. He's like, I want you. He's like, how many dials did you make? I'm like, anywhere between 500 and 800 a day. He's like,
500,
yeah.
800 a day.
How many were like actual phone call? Like you dialed 500, 800. Did you on the phone talking to somebody 500, 800?
you're talking probably like 300 to 300 people.
Shit.
Now, it's an automatic dialer, like you hang up, it goes right back.
Nope.
So you were doing a bump of cocaine so you can dial faster, right?
All right, so I was done with that shit by the time I got there.
So remember that? So yeah.
Assuming
It'll keep you sharp between the ears, plus it'll help you dial faster.
So I'm gonna go into that because I come from cold calling, door knocking. My first job out of college was a similar experience. It was in it was in an industrial park, and it was like in this little rinky-dink office, and I was just getting interviewed, and I just hear boom, 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 boom behind the wall. I'm like, what the fuck is going on back there? And they're like, all right, come back tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, and I go back. Was that a
brokerage firm?
No, it was not a brokerage firm. It was the poor man's Wolf of Wall Street.
It was a boiler room.
So it was music blast, and it was a door knocking, like a third party marketing company. So we were going door to door selling Verizon. But this is right out of college. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So I see all these guys in like suits and sneakers, and their music is blasting. There's guys over here practicing their pitch. There's guys over here, going over customer scenarios. There's guys over here going product knowledge, and I'm like, what's with the music blasting? He's like, oh, it's scientifically proven, and it helps you concentrate better. So we pump the music, and I'm like, oh,
it is true. When we were in a smaller office. We were the city office, and there was one out here in where's Stony Brook?
A little more out east.
What's the town? Oh,
Stony Brook.
No. There's one of their other it was in an office. Whatever, I forget where it was. Deep into Long Island, and so we were the small office. And, when everybody's up and pitching, presenting, cold calling, whatever, you have to sit there and focus so hard so that you're not distracted by everything else that's going on. And it got to a point where guys, when I'm on the phone, what's all that noise? What? I would literally say, what noise? I'm like, oh, I'm on a trading floor. So you hear all the noise in the background.
So
you just tune it out.
How did you get your fingers to crank out 500 dials a day?
You just get used to it.
Like you had a spreadsheet and you're just like, all right.
No, it's cards, dude.
Cards.
Well, just going through cards.
Flip it.
What was like the average call time?
I have no clue. I would have known it back then because it was on the sheet every morning.
Well, I mean, shit, if you're doing 500 a day,
it's got to be less than 30
seconds. It's got to be less than 30 seconds because if it's 30 seconds a call, it's 250 minutes divided by 60 minutes. That's 8 hours.
Yeah, there's a
4 hours right there.
3 rings and run. 3 rings and run. If you're on hold for more than 30 seconds, go. You're not sitting there waiting for somebody to come to the phone.
Because think about it, 60 minutes times 8 hours a day is 480. So if every call is a minute, that's 480 minutes right there. That's your full. If you do 480 calls in a minute a call, that's 8 hours.
We'd start calling at 8 a.m. and I wouldn't stop till I think I had to leave at 8:45 was the exact time to catch the last train back to Jersey.
Damn. Yeah. And you didn't make any money until
it took
you weren't getting paid unless you closed.
No. Yeah, well, you had to open up a certain amount of accounts for your managers who help train you and everything. And then, which I opened up my last account at. Well, no, it was my next to last account. September 10th, 2001 at 8:30ish.
The day before.
Never even got opened. Literally,
Were you in Manhattan when it happened?
I was in Century 21, the building 22 Cortlandt Street, right above Century 21. If you know downtown, we faced the World Trade Center. The World Trade Center. So close to it, literally, we had Greenwich Street separating us. That's the only thing. That we had to keep the blinds down because the sun would come from the east, hit the towers, and come into our building. So we'd keep them down till about 8:30ish, 9ish, when the sun, came over us a little more. When the first plane hit, well, it didn't really hit, but our building swayed back and forth so much that I'm going to say that a good 80% of the office bolted for the doors. Me and the guy Eddie training me, we're like, what the hell is that? We walk to the window, we pull up the blinds. Now, mind you, we were on the 22nd floor, so this was on the 100th floor.
Yeah, way up there.
So it's way up there. But there was we didn't see the plane going in, but we saw the plane go. We didn't know what it was. And then a fireball was coming out. Mind you, it's 80 floors up.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I've never seen a fireball coming straight at my face.
No doubt. Yeah.
What the hell?
So you instantly knew this is bad.
We thought it was some sort of explosion. Something went wrong in the building. Whatever.
It's a gigantic fireball coming out of a building. You're probably something.
Yeah, everyone thought the first hit was an accident. A plane just hit that.
Yeah.
Or
did you see the second one hit?
So no. So we went down. At that point, we went downstairs. I found my friend. We were on Greenwich Street. We were looking up at the hole. Mind you, there's thousands of people on Greenwich Street. We're all looking at the hole, and we're like, "Wow, what is that? What could that?" It went from missile to helicopter to small prop plane to 747. I mean, like literally everything was being thrown around down there. So then I said to my friend, I'm like, yo, we got to get out of here. He's like, we can't leave. We got to watch. I'm like, watch what?
Watch what?
Right. So all of a sudden, I start seeing, about 10 minutes down there, we start seeing something like coming down. I'm like, what the hell is, like, paper was flying everywhere. All of a sudden, little dot come down about halfway through, like you see legs or arms, I don't know what it was, like kicking, and it was a body. And I was like, oh. Jesus Christ, this is a person.
You saw it, like,
bro. Not only did I see it, I forget what building was in front of. I don't know if it was 7 or whatever, but it was much lower. It's like maybe like 5, 6, maybe 10 stories. I don't know. It fell in between the North Tower and that, but you heard it hit.
Boom.
No, it wasn't boom. It's like you ever hear a watermelon?
It's like a
hit?
watermelon
like a splat.
explosion. Yeah.
Yes.
Damn.
Saw another body come down. Same thing. Another body. After 5, I think it was 4 or 5. I said my legs started shaking. Now, I have this, when things start getting crazy, I just can zone out and can focus. But my legs started
Probably got
shaking.
that from like the Wallstreet days where you have all this commotion going on and you're just kind of
my father,
blocking it out.
My father, my grandfather, they're very calm people. Like they could stay focused. Like, I don't think they've been in situation. My grandfather was in Korea, so maybe he saw. But my legs started like getting like shaky. I've never had that feeling. So I go to my friend, I'm like, yo, we got to get out of here. So
now you're starting to get really nervous. Like this.
I didn't get nervous. I was just like, we got to get out of here.
Just
I wasn't. I wasn't like all warm and fuzzy. So let's not think. I'm
no,
like,
it was just like it switched from like what the hell was that to
something's not right here. Like, we got to
yeah.
go. And he was like, no, but we got to stay. I'm like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Like,
here?
what are you looking at? Because I just watched 5 bodies fall from this building. Like, this is not.
So we start walking up. I forget the street, but it's, you know, the tall, thin hotel that's down there.
Yeah.
So we were on the south side of the street. Now we hear the same noise we heard when the building started swaying. Is the, you know, I now know they were putting thrusters on to go into the building harder, and all of a sudden you just hear, boom, and then debris starts going over our head because we're on the south side. The building is blocking us, so the debris is going over us like this. Thank God we were on that side. Then it was either a man or a woman. There was 2 people that got hit. I forgot what it was first, but in the middle of the block, the person got hit in the back of the head with something because they got up and there was blood all over. My friend's like, well, we got to help her. I'm like, how are we going to help her? What are we going to do? I was like, just keep going. I'm sure there's people that are going to be like, oh, you should have helped her. I just didn't know what to do. I just knew we had to get out of there.
Yeah.
Like, this is not good. So then at the end of the block, it was Broadway. This dude, like, if you looked at his face, it looked like he had a hole going into his brain, like right here.
Gosh.
We're like, what the
Walking?
hell?
He was walking? Or he was on the ground?
He wasn't walking. He was kind of like in a daze. He
Oh.
was like, what the hell? So I'm like, come on, let's go. So we turn right. We're going. I had my cell phone and my keys and my wallet in my drawer in the office. So I'm like, I got to go back there. Police are like, get the... Can I curse?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Get the fuck out of here. We're under attack. You got to get the fuck out of here. We're like...
Did you go back
What
get your
is
shit? Or
no, he wouldn't. There was no way this guy was he was screaming in our face. So we start walking another block away. We go to Nassau Street, which is Broadway, Nassau. They run parallel, and then the World Trade Center was another block over. So I don't know why I said this to my friend. I'm like, yo, dude. He was like, let's go back to my parents' house in Brooklyn. Done. We're going. Something said to me, I'm like, I was like, all my money's in my desk. Can you just give me $20? I was like, if I don't need it when we get back to your parents' house, I'll give it to you. I was like, he's like, Bobby, you got to come with me. You're coming to my house. You're coming to my house. I'm like, yeah, I know. Just give me $20.
Just in case we get separated.
I don't know what made me say this. Not 2 minutes later, the scaffolding was under. And by the way, I only found this out because one of my friends is an engineer. This scaffolding, as if it was like the covers for the lights, was just like, you know, when a fan hits a sheet, it's like, I'm under it and it's swaying like this. Apparently, when there's an earthquake, it's made to do that so that it doesn't crumble down. He jets out. A little Spanish woman comes screaming. I mean, she must have been 5 feet tall, and I'm 6'5", screaming something in Spanish, and she's pushing me by the hips. She goes, go on the ground, go on the ground. By the way, I'm not making fun of her. That was her voice. Pushes me underground.
Politically correct.
Yeah, pushes me into the subway, and I just couldn't catch my balance, so I was going all the way down. She kept pushing me all the way down. I'm like, lady, I do not want to be underground right now. I want to be able to, like, get away.
If something, exactly. If it gets filled in and you're like, now I'm stuck underground.
Dude, well, then once I got under, I was like, oh, we'll walk through the subways. They locked the subway, so you couldn't get on there. I was like, going to walk through the tunnels. So now I'm like, I got to get out. So I go up, and smoke or the cloud from the first tower. That's what the scaffolding was the first.
Oh,
because
it fell down, and then the shock
wave. It felt like an earthquake. And so now all this smoke is going around. You can't even breathe. It was tough to breathe. It was like really hard. So I see a dude walking with one of those, you know what, sheetrock hangers. They have those masks with the
it's like a gas mask.
Yeah,
but
vents on the side. Yeah.
So I was like, buddy, do you have another one of those? He goes, dude. He's like, I had 5 of them on my job site, but it's like 3 blocks away. I was like, all right, don't worry about it. It wasn't until I got to the Brooklyn Bridge where it started to clear up. So now I'm like, what do I got to do? I was like, all right.
So you and your friend obviously got split up.
Oh, because
the tower was falling. So
he went. I later found out he went across the street. There was a building. He went in there. It was a apartment building. So he went in there. The doorman told him come in there, and he was hanging out in someone's apartment. He went home after that. But yeah, we got separated. So now I'm at the Brooklyn Bridge, which is.
Did he give you the $20?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Still to this day.
I still have it. It's folded in my wallet, which is still in my office.
Although I wasn't making money then, so that $20 was a lot of money. So I was like, all right, the ferry. I had to go back to Jersey, so I'm like, the subways aren't working. The path's probably not going to work. So let me go to 39th Street. I knew there was ferries up there because the ones down in the World Financial or Wall Street weren't going to be running. So I started walking. I was like, all right, I got to get over. I got to get up. Whatever. So then I get to Tribeca, and I'm walking up, and it's literally out of a movie. People are at their cars or have radios, and they're listening to what's going on. And somebody's like, buddy, come here. You got to hear what's going on. I'm like, I don't need to know what's going on.
I saw what's going on.
I'm going home. I'm getting off. All I thought was I got to get off.
Were you married at this point?
I was no.
Okay.
I met my wife 2 months later.
Oh, wow.
So, sorry, a year later. So, I'm in Tribeca, and all of a sudden I feel the ground shaking again. I turn around. The next tower's coming down. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is horrible.
Yeah, what's going through your mind when you see that second tower go down?
I didn't see the first one. I didn't see anything else. Like, so now I'm seeing it actually go down. I was like, what the hell? And, in Tribeca.
At any point, did it, like, click in your brain? You're like United States is under attack right now? Or did you think that, okay, something happened and structurally it fell?
I think I'm so dumb I didn't even think about that. I was just like, I got to get off the island. But there was talks now that we were being attacked by something. I just didn't know what. And there was talks that there was more attacks coming. I was just like, I got to get
saying, like, nobody knows. But
no.
At this point, did you have an inkling? Like, you heard it. Somebody's like, hey, planes went into the building, and you're probably thinking.
My only thought was I got to get off.
Get home. I got to get home.
I didn't even think about it. I didn't want to know about it. I was like, let me just.
Because the longer you sit here and think about it,
so what am I going to do? What am I going to sit there and listen? Okay, let's listen to what's going on.
While another freaking missile's coming. Yeah.
There's no whatever. Let me get off this island, and then I'll figure out what happened. So I walk all the way up. Now, at the time, the New Jersey waterway didn't really have a terminal there. It was literally just the street, a fence, and then there was a plank to get on the boat. It was literally just what they had. But the line was like 2 blocks long, and it went up and down 2 or 3 times. But I'm walking, and I don't see this. I just see people online. I was like, what is this line for? But it was so long, I didn't think it was for the ferry. So I just keep walking up. And all of a sudden, it like turns in, and I see people going into the ferry. Now, mind you, and if you look it up to this day, it was a Jay-Z Blueprint album. Came out on 9/11/2001. There's a dude, if you remember, handing out CDs. Like, how did they get their name out there?
Yeah.
He had a stack of them. He was working for the record company or promotion for the record company, whatever, and he's handing them out. So he goes like this to me. Gives me a head nod in. I was like, I didn't know what I looked like. I had no clue, anything. So we go, everybody on the line that I just walked past, hundreds of people. You can't cut the line. I've been online for however long, you can't cut the line. So then the guy in front of me, as I'm like, once you go around that thing, you're literally walking onto the ferry. Guy turns around. He's like, oh, he's one of the dust people. I go like this. I go, what dust people? What are you talking about? He's like, you have all the dust. Where'd you come from? I was like, downtown. He's like, you were in the cloud? I was like, yeah. I was like, how'd you know? He goes, you have it all over you. I go, I have it. He's like, dude, your hair's all gray. He's like, you have it all.
You had no idea.
No, I
yeah.
had zero.
It's not like you saw a mirror by the time.
No, I wasn't stopping to check myself out. So then we get on the ferry. He's like, hey, what? He's like,
so because you had dust and you looked like a bag of shit, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
So then the guy with the CDs, They're like he can't go with you. I'm like, that's my cousin or whatever, brother, cousin. He's like, oh, thanks, bro.
You're like, I'm going on this.
Yeah. There was no, I didn't.
It was like the Titanic. You're like, I'm getting on this fucking boat.
There was no, not getting on this ferry, right then and there.
I'm getting on the rowboat. Okay.
So thank God there was no children. So, but there was no.
It'd be
danger.
like, what's his name? Like,
it was
that
the
guy,
evil guy
where he finds the kid behind like the boxes.
He's like,
he's like, he's all I have
a child. I have a child. Yeah.
He's all I have left in this world.
Scumbag.
I have a child.
So I get on the ferry, but now I live. It wasn't far from the ferry, but to walk, it was probably a good 20 miles. Like, so I didn't live far, but 20 miles.
Yeah, in a car you're not far, but walk.
Right. So he was like, the kid was like, he's like, hey, you want a CD? I was like, sure. So
he gave you a Jay-Z Blueprint CD.
Yeah.
Do you have that still?
Probably at my father's house.
Bro, that's gotta be up.
Fun fact.
Sick.
Not to interrupt the story, but you brought up Jay-Z Blueprint. So when we first launched the Burn Down podcast,
Jay-Z came on.
The intro music to the Burn Down podcast was from the Jay-Z Blueprint album.
See?
And then the first couple episodes we posted, we realized you can't post it because it's copyright infringement.
Yeah.
So we had to get rid of that song and put a new song in. But then years later,
You put it back.
we came out with the Blueprint cigar.
Oh,
I do have to correct you. Sorry, it came from the Reasonable Doubt album. It was.
It wasn't Blueprint?
No, it was.
you had
The
it
one with the
running,
trumpets.
It was Can I Live?
Can I Live? Thank you.
Yeah.
Right? That was
Yeah.
That was
It
from.
was like a moment we were having.
Oh.
Just ruined it.
I always thought it was from the Blueprint album.
Someone's gonna say it's never from the fucking Blueprint, bro. That's from the Reasonable Doubt.
well, the story.
The whole Jay-Z thing was still there. That's
The
whole
Jay-Z
concept,
thing,
yeah.
and then it's like, okay, so back up. We used the song from the Jay-Z album, had to take away the song because it was copyright infringement, and then later on we took a Blueprint,
So
which
now
is
did you get in
which is
trouble
another.
for it, or you
No,
realized
because
that you just took it away?
this has no relate. We didn't pick Blueprint because of the Jay-Z album. We picked Blueprint for the reasons that I said
People
earlier.
will say, "Would you pick that because of Jay-Z?" No.
It's just a funny coincidence that the original song we used was from Jay-Z, and then our first cigar happens to be a Jay-Z album. Has no relation, right? But it's
That's,
just and there's no you can't copyright the word Blueprint. Like, if I were to make an album and call the album The Blueprint, then maybe that's copyright because Jay-Z already has one. But still, you can't.
The print of blue.
Yeah. Anyway,
Print of blue.
So you get
So
on
now
this
you're 20
ferry,
miles away.
The guy gives you a CD.
So yeah, and he's like, "How you getting home?" I was like, "I don't know." And he's like,
I
"Where
got
do you
$20.
live?"
I'll figure it out.
He's like, "Where do you live?" I was like, "Bloomfield." And I was like, "Why? Where do you live?" He's like, "Clifton." I said, "No, it's the next town over in Jersey." And I was like, "How are you getting home?" He's like, "Oh, I parked in Hoboken." That was the same distance I just walked up. So now he's like, "But we got to walk to my car. I heard there's no buses." I was like, Christ. All right, let's go. So we walk to the car. Now it's calm. It's easy. So we walk same distance I just walked in Jersey. And then we get in his car, go home. And it wasn't until about 1:30 that I was able to call anybody. My brother answers the phone because he's bartending, so he's home during the day. He's like, "Oh, my God." He's like, "Everybody's calling looking for you." He had just come to my office like a week or two before, so he knew how close I was. But my parents didn't know. My mother had an idea, but she didn't know. So like, "Mommy's calling." He's like, "Daddy's at my father was a doctor in Hoboken, so they had a triage center set up at the ferry terminal. He's like, he called once, like saying if I heard from you, this and that. And I was like,
now
this is like crazy.
How long was this from the moment that the towers were hit to you made your first
1:30.
First phone call?
1:30.
So it's like
in the morning.
It's like 6 hours.
No.
Oh,
In the afternoon.
afternoon.
It's like
So
6
when
hours,
did they get
right?
hit again? It was
8:45,
8:45.
8:50.
Yeah,
okay. So
8:46,
it was half of a day or something.
Yeah.
6 hours.
Yeah. My
It's a long time to wait. Especially your parents. Your
So-
parents probably freaking out.
No, my mother was a school teacher. They said, if you have anybody in the downtown area, and she's like, no, I'm not going to go. And then she started thinking, because my brother told her that it was downtown, but she didn't know. Her thoughts go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Long story short-
as any parent would,
Yeah. So I get home. My parents were divorced. I was living with my father at the time. My mother calls me. She's like, I'm taking you to dinner. I'm like, hell, you are. I don't want to go to dinner tonight. She's like, Rob, I'm your mother. I'm taking you to dinner. I thought you died today. Okay, Mom.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
25 years old. Okay, Mom.
All right, we'll go
Sure.
to dinner. Yeah.
So we go to dinner. Sitting there, it was a Mexican place.
I'm waiting for this $20 to come back into play.
No, it doesn't really. You know
Yeah.
what? It's so it was
We got the bill, and it was
BYOB.
$100, 20%. Ah, $20.
Yeah.
There it is.
No, I didn't even get to that. BYOB. So I go to my mother. I was like, yo, I don't even know what happened to the $20 now, because now I had to go buy it, and I asked my mother for money. So it's funny. But anyway, liquor store right across the street. So I get a small bottle of Cuervo. That's all there really was. Go into the restaurant. I was like, here, use this whole thing. So they come back and it was only like maybe this much taken out. I was like, what about the rest of it? They're like, it would be too strong. Start drinking the margaritas that they made it with. I'm like, screw it. So I start dumping it in. Finished the whole bottle. My brother had a little bit. My mother had a little bit.
You're like, I need a freaking drink.
Oh, yeah. I finished the whole thing myself. My brother had some, but not a lot. The funny part about it is, so I got whatever I got. I didn't eat it. I wasn't hungry. Shocker. So the guy's like, I'm fine now. Not stressed. Nothing. It was what it was. Shit day. Whatever. So the guy's like, oh, you're not going to eat your food. I was like, oh, no. I was like, you could pack it up. I'll take it with me. And he's like, oh, what was wrong with it? I was like, oh, nothing. It's just I don't really have an appetite today. And he's like, oh, why not? I was like, oh, let's just chalk it up to a bad day. So I'm still trying to talk. And I was like, if you could just pack it up. I was like, appreciate it. I was like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I actually love their food. It was great food. And he goes like this. So now I'm talking to my brother or whoever was sitting here. He's like, how bad of a day could it have been? I just go like this. I go, and there was a TV right. I was like, have you not watched the fucking TV today? Like, do you live under a rock? He's like, excuse me? I go, look at the fucking TVs. He goes, what's going on? He had no clue.
No way.
Yeah,
No clue.
Yeah. None. Zero. It's as if I just blew up his whole world. No pun intended.
Literally living under a rock.
Had no idea.
For a
I
whole
was just-
day.
I was like,
What did he say when he finally realized, like, hey,
I don't even remember.
Like-
I was so pissed off.
like, how do you not?
Hey, man, pack it the fuck
I'm
up.
trying to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
Just like, no, there's nothing wrong with it. Just pack it up. And I was
how
going
do
to
you
eat it.
like?
I'm not a nice guy. If I
He's
don't
really
like
poking
it.
you.
Yeah.
How bad was it, dude? How did you?
My brother
Bruh.
just brought it up a couple months ago. He's like,
I remember
the waiter
we, like,
said to you,
we-
how bad of a day could
We
you have?
found out like almost like instantaneously.
Most of the world
like,
did.
and I remember being in school. I remember being in school and like we were. I think it was during.
I
It was like 8:45.
I was in elementary school. I remember kids dropping out left and right. I remember
Dude, I
kids going home.
just
I'm
remember
like,
it was like
I'm
people
like,
were just
where's
coming out.
everybody going?
They were like,
Yeah.
it was a suicide bomb. Like there was just chatter and chatter. And like my mother took me out of school, so I was like,
No.
what's going on?
My
I mean,
mom
now
didn't.
granted, you're a little bit younger, so you don't really know, but you don't really know like everything that's going on. But you heard, you're like, buildings went down in Manhattan, and like when you're in elementary school, I think I was in middle school. It's like, okay, what buildings? Like you don't know. The only building that you really know of at that age is like Statue of Liberty and Empire State Building. Like those are the two buildings you know of. You don't know of the Twin Towers. You don't know of these things.
yeah.
But you hear like there's a suicide bombing.
How old were you?
I was 11.
So
2001.
I was 10. So yeah, I think I was in like 5th grade.
Yeah, I was because I was in middle school. I was in like 6th, 7th grade.
And I remember vividly just kids dropping out left and
yeah,
right. And I was
just
like,
getting pulled out of school.
Why can't
like,
I go
and I was like, man, I want to go home. What the hell? But then just recently, I was looking at old pictures with my father and my mom, and I saw I was in Disneyland in October of 2021. I was like, Dad, we went to Disneyland like a
I
month.
think your dad was
2001.
2001. Yeah,
Your dad was
he flew that day.
he flew that day.
Yeah, my mom was
Was
worried.
a pilot?
No. He traveled off for business. He flew all over.
and he flew that day.
Yeah, he did.
Where was he going?
I think he went down to the Carolinas.
Did he get stuck there?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
in,
he was stuck
yeah.
there. Yeah,
he
I
went
think
down to IBM. I
Had to
think,
be like
down
a
there.
week, right?
Or Lenovo. No,
He
he
had
went
to
to
take a-
Lenovo and
Yeah. He had to take a train or he had to take some kind of way back up.
Yeah.
But I remember asking my dad, I was like, Dad, we went to Disney a month after 9/11. He's like,
It was dirt cheap, and it's safe.
yeah. Well, this is what he said. He said, yeah, your mom and I, we sat in the kitchen and we just sat, are we going to let these fucking terrorists ruin our family vacation? No, we're not. We're going to go. And I
Well,
was
you
like,
also think about it.
I was like-
When would a plane be safer?
yeah. Well, it's fun.
That's a good way of thinking of it.
It's
Yeah.
when, it's so that reminds me of so have you heard that they want to do a Titanic 2, that they want to make a second Titanic, right? And somebody had asked the question of, would you get on that Titanic, like if they did it? And I said, you know what? I said, I'm not really, like, I haven't been on a whole lot of cruises, right? And cruise across the Atlantic Ocean. I don't know if I would, but I can guarantee you this. I said, knowing what happened to the first one, that cruise is going to be the safest cruise in the history of cruises. Said, you know how many people are going to be tracking that with the amount of technology? They're going to have helicopters. They're probably going to have flying. They're going to have secondary boat. They're going to have so much protection following that ship to make sure it doesn't.
Well, aren't there other cruise ships that?
Oh yeah,
across the Atlantic?
they just did. Yeah, they have a bunch of them. They just did one. The World Cruise just finished. I don't know if you heard about this story, but they had a cruise.
Isn't it
that was like 9 months.
4 seasons?
Something. It just finished like a month
It's
or
like
so ago.
$500,000 or something.
It was 9
right?
months. It was 9 months, and it goes around the entire world. And you stop at all these different countries. It goes across. It goes all the way around. It goes around Africa. It goes all the way. Like it does the whole thing. and it was safe. It was fine. Nothing happened. But everybody goes, no, I would never get on the Titanic too. You kidding me? That's bad. Something bad waiting to happen. I said, yeah, but you know what? First off, the amount of technology now about the tracking. It's like in second of they'll have drones like following.
Bro,
that
it's over
the
100.
whole
It's
way.
over 100 years. Like
they would.
Well, plus that now they didn't have the right amount of what are they? I'm gonna say rowboats. The lifeboats.
Lifeboats,
yeah.
that's another thing too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why all the ships all have the appropriate amount of lifeboats.
Well, did you hear about how that the conspiracy about how Titanic was an inside job? Have you heard about all that stuff? I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but there's a conspiracy theory that say that it went down on purpose.
Why people had money on it?
That
like
there was
insurance?
like a lot of insurance
I was gonna say,
guys,
big insurance
and
policy.
Like, and there's some tweaks. I could probably pull it up.
I heard a couple of things like that. There was a guy like the number one guest on the cruise list was supposed to. There's like the guy who had the insurance policy and he didn't go. He canceled the trip that day. Some weird shit like that.
I'll
So I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do love a good conspiracy theory.
I do too. Yeah. I do too. I really do. It's gets you really fucking.
But nowadays, it's not so much conspiracy theories.
I was just gonna. Nowadays, a couple conspiracy theories been coming true. Just saying. You know, it's all the crazies are starting to come to the light and shed some truth on what the flip is going on.
Yeah, so they're saying like.
The one thing I don't go for is 9/11 though. Like it's an inside job. I'm like, don't think so.
Yeah, that one's.
That's
iffy.
a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah,
3,000 people. They're like, well, they didn't know that many people were gonna die. Come on, man.
There was bombs in it. The planes. There was no way.
They say that the way it collapsed was too.
It was like demolition, like when they take a building down because it falls.
But that's allegedly because it was an exoskeleton building. How it was designed to allegedly.
Yeah, it's that one's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
So they were saying. So it just says the theory hinges. Well.
Oh, how many coconuts?
An advertisement. Let me just turn this down.
That did not sound like an advertisement.
How many coconuts?
It says according to this theory, millionaire banker J.P. Morgan planned the Titanic disaster to kill off rival millionaires Jacob Astor, Isidor Straus, and Benjamin Guggenheim, who all perished on board.
Yeah.
So the theory hinges on the fact that Morgan had originally planned to sail on Titanic, but changed his mind shortly before it took off. Yet it doesn't offer an explanation for how he caused the ship, let alone the three men. To top it off, the theory claims Morgan wanted to kill them because they opposed the creation of the Federal Reserve.
Hey, Jimmy, I'll throw you $20 if you hit the iceberg.
So it says
just a little bump.
Alternative versions claim that Rothschild banking family or the Jesuits were the ones who arranged Astor, Straus, and Guggenheim's death.
That's aggressive.
But it goes a little bit deeper. They're saying like there's an
there.
insurance policy, and then there's this and that and the next thing, and then some of these other conspiracy says like it never sank, and there's a mummy's curse, and
well, they just found
sank, huh?
they just found the thing that blew up last year. The guy who went
the submarine.
Yeah, what is it? The Ocean Gate.
Yeah.
They just found the remains of that at the bottom of the ocean. But that thing.
A friend of mine's an engineer, so he was telling me all about the pounds per square inch of the pressure that it was, and.
Nuts.
He was like, that thing was not designed to. I'm like, how do you know?
I watched again.
He told me the science behind. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, he used carbon fiber. Everyone said not to use carbon fiber because it wasn't. I watched like a documentary thing about it, and he just he was known for like kind of going the opposite way of doing things. And I mean, you control the thing with a freaking PlayStation controller. That was nuts. I just. Yeah. I can't imagine wanting to go that far.
I don't know if I'd want to go down that far. I like exploring things. I like seeing things, but underwater, I'm a little.
Nah, I hate open water. I
don't mind open water, but it's like when you go underwater.
Come on.
So there's speaking of like the open water, we were in St. Lucia, my wife and I, where I proposed. We went down there, and that's where I proposed to her. So we went to we did one of these little like booze cruises, and they take you this little cruise. You go snorkeling, you hop off, you go to the Sulphur Mud Bath, you go to the Piton Mountains and stuff. It was really cool. And there's this one section where we were going to go where the reef, the coral reef was, but the boat can't get over there because it's too shallow. So they anchor the boat here and they say jump out and you got to swim over. Except was kind of scary. I mean, they parked by the mountains, and it's obviously they wouldn't let you go if there was sharks or anything like that. They're like, no, it's safe, we're fine. But they go jump in the water and just swim that way, and eventually you'll see the reef. So we get in the water, you have your goggles on, you go underwater, and there's nothing. You can't see anything, and you just keep swimming, and you just keep swimming.
That deep?
And it's deep, right? So you keep swimming, you keep swimming, and then all of a sudden, like a little coral comes into the frame, and a little coral, and then you can see all the coral, right? But on the way back, you're
tired.
You can't like see it. You just keep swimming. You just keep swimming. And then all of a sudden, you're swimming back to the boat, and then you see the bottom of the boat.
Oh, you can't even see it.
So you can't like when you're swimming
it?
back, like you can't like when you can get out of water and see where the boat is, but when you're getting underwater with your goggles because you have your snorkel on, you're swimming, you can't see anything.
Oh.
So now you get to where the boat is, right? And I dip my head underwater, and all you see is like the bottom of the boat, and then you just see the anchor line. And then if you look down the anchor line, it disappears. You can't see the bottom. So you just see this rope that just disappears into the darkness, right?
You wouldn't do it.
Nope.
So get this.
I've done so, but I
so now here's
what's
what's really crazy. So now, off the other side of the boat, the opposite of the reef, you can just like jump off. So we're like doing flips and stuff. So I was like, honey, take a video of me. So I jump off the boat, right? And I swim out a little bit. And I was like, just take a picture of me, because all you see is like the mountains in the background, and then it's just all ocean. And it's just me just like floating in the water.
Yeah, that's cool.
But if you dip your head underneath and you do like a 360, it was the most ominous feeling ever, because you put your goggles on, you go underneath, and you look at the boat, right? You see the boat, you see the anchor go down, disappear into the darkness, and then if you spin around, there's nothing. Yeah. You don't see a single. Look, all you see is your feet dangling, and it's just black everywhere. You're like, I have no idea what's underneath me, and
it's not clear water there.
Dude, it was.
That's what I'm afraid of.
But
not
it's
knowing what's underneath you.
No,
that's
it's clear, but it's so deep
you can't just
that you just look down. I'm like, fuck, there's nothing. Like there is nothing. You look out, there's nothing. Like you can see maybe 30 feet in front of you, 50 feet in front of you, but it's so deep and so far that you can't see past that. So I'm looking down. I'm like, there could be this gigantic fucking shark just coming right at me, and I would have no.
There's a video. There's a couple
so
videos like
wild,
that where there's guys like they're underwater, and then all of a sudden they turn their head in like the murky water, and a fucking great white just comes right by the head. Nah.
I have the.
I remember flying to Hawaii once, and we flew overnight.
So this is us like just.
Yeah, no.
So that's where it's like.
That's cool. Oh, you're out there.
Now this is from the boat. So the other side of the boat was where the reef was, but those mountains are way in the distance, and we were just floating there, and you're like,
no.
That's out there.
There ain't nothing.
Usually those booze cruises stay by the land. They don't really go.
Yeah, but I
far
couldn't get
out.
that, so the creepiest thing was seeing the anchor. I'm like, how far does this go? And you look down and
How big was the boat? It had to be pretty big, right?
Yeah, maybe like 50 people can fit on it.
It was the same thing
huge,
in Aruba.
but like a little pontoon type of thing.
Yeah, it has a net in the front and whatnot.
Yeah,
Catamaran.
it was cool.
Catamaran.
That's
Yes,
exactly
thank you. Yeah, we did that in Aruba. I remember looking at seeing the anchor going down. I'm like, nope, not looking down that way.
So you won't go swimming in that?
No, I went swimming in it, but like.
No, you do. Do
you hold on to your wife the whole time?
Yeah.
No, Eric, you know what you got to do is in that situation you have to take full advantage of the booze part of the booze cruise. Yeah. Then you got a little liquid courage in you.
I remember like flying to Hawaii overnight, and I remember like it was like a full moon out, and I remember it was so clear that you could see the Pacific Ocean, and I remember the moonlight grazing over the top of the water, and I'm like, if we crash, I just want to die before we crash because I don't want to survive in the water.
That's what you think about when you're in a plane? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That was that one. That was.
What's crazy though?
You don't think ever about going down when you're in a plane? Not once.
No, you know why? Because if you're gonna die, that's the way to go, man.
Yeah,
it's quick.
But you think about it going down at least once.
No.
You know why I hate taking off? I hate the takeoff part of flying.
My wife used to. She'd have to hold my hand so tight.
No, I'm not like I'm calm, cool, and collected.
No, she was too, but holding my hand, that was not calm.
No. But like
she's much better now.
When the pilot says we are on our way to descend, I'm like, all right, good.
Dude, have you ever seen that?
So are you freaking out the whole time? Like, do you have to?
No, I'm fine on the plane. Like, if you look at me, I'm fine. In my head, I'm like, I don't really have a problem flying. I like flying, but those are the thoughts that creep in my head. You know what I mean?
All right. So have you ever seen? Shoot, there's I think it's a video game.
Microsoft.
No,
playing game?
It's
there's a flight simulator with Microsoft. You know, you can pick a timeline where you want to fly, so you can go back,
take the actual route,
and go back exactly, and you can go back to September 11th, and they have the Twin Towers, and if you get close to the towers, they kick you off. They kick you off, and I think they kick you off and like don't let you back on the program.
I would do that. I would get so bored after 20 minutes, I'd crash the plane.
It was worth it.
No, there's I gotta see if I can find it. it's like a simulation of this. I think it's a video game, but it's super realistic. It's a simulation of these guys. They're in it's like your first person shooter game, and you're in a helicopter, and there's like a warship, right? And it's like what the Megalodon would look like if.
Oh yeah.
So you're in this helicopter.
Oh yeah, you'll find that in 2 seconds.
And there's the warship, and you're looking at the warship, and all of a sudden this gigantic shark like just jumps up and it bites the ship and just eats the ship in half, right? And then the tail like whips up and hits the helicopter, and now you're going down, and you go down into the water, right? And then you come to, and you're just like floating around the water, and then you dip your head underneath it, and you see like this gigantic shark over there, and then it comes at you and eats you. But did you find it?
Yeah, I'll find it in 2 seconds.
Because I was trying to find it, and it's so realistic. I'm looking to go, that'd be terrible. That'd be so.
Yeah, hold on.
By the way, I have to commend you guys. You guys are good Googlers are finding this stuff. I'm quick with stuff. You guys are real quick.
This is it right here.
Let me see it.
Yeah.
You found it? Oh, yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is it. This is.
Oh, you're that close. Oh, you're close.
Yeah, I think it's a video game.
Were you supposed to land on that ship? Or?
Maybe. It's like a simulation, but.
I think it's just a video.
They're like, could you imagine if you saw this in real life?
That helicopter would be nowhere near the
Yeah, and then look. And then you go down. Oh, of course it pauses.
Yep.
Bang. You're in the water. And now you're like, fuck.
Yeah, this is my worst nightmare right here.
Oh, look. Is that a body?
That's the helicopter.
Oh.
And bye-bye.
Dude, could you imagine?
Yeah, no.
All right, let's get off the topic. I
Okay.
can't talk about open water more.
One last thing. Did you hear the story about the guy who was swallowed by a whale and then survived? Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
That the whale just came up and he's like, it just went black. And then all of a sudden, it's like, he spit me back out. He's like, I don't like that.
Another reason why I like
Fucking
land.
imagine the mind fuck.
Another reason why I like land.
Oh, could you, dude?
Have you seen the ones where the people are in rowboats or like small boats and the whales come up?
Yeah, and they jump on, they land on them.
What?
Yeah, nah.
Dude, I would love
I
to.
want to go whale watching. Let's get as close as. How about
I
we
know,
just
dude.
I went
keep
deep
a
sea
little
fishing out in where was it? Rhode Island, I think, a couple years ago, and I felt like I was on Discovery Channel because we were all the way out there. We left like 5 a.m. We were going all the way off the coast, and it was all the whales in and out. You see the water, you see their tails, and we were like, I was like right there. I'm like, damn, like these things are huge.
Like in a boat, it's one. What you see these guys in the kayaks or like on paddle boards,
What?
and it's just, I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
They're beautiful, absolutely
are.
beautiful creatures.
They
Okay,
don't mean to hurt you.
From a
like
distance.
humpback, but like that
From a
humpback,
distance.
if the humpback just like grazed you,
tail.
you're
That's
fucked. you're like,
my God.
Well, there was one boat. They were in a small. I'm gonna say like a 20-foot boat, like a decent sized
Yeah.
boat. It wasn't big by any means, and they just knocked it over, capsized
like
it.
think about how big that animal is.
Right. It would
It
was
can just be
nothing.
like, just like a little.
Poof.
Yeah, it's like if you were to flick like a
The
bug.
cap.
Yeah,
There you
bing,
go.
and the thing, and
That's all it is.
they don't even feel it. Like, what was that? What was that?
All right, I want to talk about flipping homes,
Yes.
private equity, and real estate.
Yeah.
By the way, how much time do you have?
However much time
All
you
right,
guys
great.
want.
I love that.
Because we didn't even get to we going off on. I mean, this is the whole point of the podcast, right? You get off on tangents, so it's okay.
It's the conversations you have over a stogie, man.
But I want people to know what you do, and I want to know a little bit more
Yes.
because I find real estate very interesting.
Yeah.
So you left Wall Street to go into real estate.
Yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I had a book of business. We started a broker dealer, which is a tedious task, mind you, and it was 4 of us. There was my partner and this other guy Eddie, who was John's partner, who ran the company, and I ran it with him. So John and I ran the company, and Eddie and my partner Matt managed our book of business. And then in 2015, my partner Matt moved down to Orlando, and just one day he calls me up. He's like, "Yeah, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to resign." I was like, "All right, so when? Like 2 weeks, month, what?" He's like, "Oh no, later today."
Like right now.
So we had 150 guys through 5 different states.
Well, you kind of did that with the DJ, so. He's like, "Oh, I got to pay." Well, I quit.
Yeah, well, that's.
Well, you're gonna quit.
different, yeah.
You get booked out for a year. I don't care.
Book of
Figure it out.
business, millions of dollars of real estate, DJ business.
None of this. Oh yeah. So I sold my book of business to the firm. I was running the firm with John. I was on like a salary, commissions, stuff. I had a different comp plan that I had in 15 years. And I was doing that for the next 6 years or so. And I wouldn't say I got bored, but I wasn't really talking to clients anymore. I wasn't selling, which I thought I wanted to get away from, which I thought it was a good thing. But I'm dealing with salespeople, which is like wrangling cats. And
When the cat's away, the mice will play.
Hey, can you fill this out for me? Can you do this? Can you, dude? How much money do you
Like,
make?
shoot me now, jeez.
So I got burnt out, bored. I wasn't really burnt out, so I sent out a text to 20 people. My now business partner, I go to put my phone down, and it's ringing. It says Mark. I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, I just text you. Can't you just text me back like a normal person? Like, something made me answer.
That's
so I was
me,
like,
though.
When you send a
Sometimes
text and
me,
they
I'm like,
call
"Man,
you,
I'll call him."
No. Rightfully so. But he goes, I hadn't talked. I'd known him for 10 years, but I didn't talk to him in a year or two. He's like, I want you. I'm like, whoa. What do you mean you want me? I'm like, first of all, you can't afford me. I meant that sincerely. That wasn't like a cocky thing. I thought he was flipping 1 or 2 homes. And he's like, let me tell you what I have going on. Then tell me I can't afford you. Meet me for lunch one day. I'm like, all right, cool. So he's telling me how he's doing, 20, 30 homes a year and how he wanted to get into the commercial side and build it up to over 100, 200, 300 million dollars. Wanted to go to the institutions, get money from them. I was like, oh, wow, we could really do something with this. So I go, yeah, but there's one problem. He's like, what? I was like, I don't know real estate. Like, I know nothing about I had bought a house as an investment. It was one of the worst things I ever did, but it was a very expensive lesson, mind you.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from that. And, here I am now, 3 years later. So what we do is we're a private equity firm. I came in as a capital raiser, and I raise capital for it. He handles more of the operational stuff, which I'm starting to handle more now. We go out there. We have a proprietary technology that uncovers properties across the United States. We're primarily in Pittsburgh, Detroit, Minnesota, St. Louis, and Chicago. Did I say Chicago? No.
Yep.
So those are our primary areas. And of recently, we're starting to get in the New York area. We started doing development in Dallas, Texas. Rewind. Our proprietary technology uncovers properties that are coming to the marketplace at a discount. We look for 60%. They're distressed, they're run down, they're foreclosed on, whatever the case may be.
and what's that? The
There's like
60
an algorithm or something that
is that
So what
60% off of
what the perceived market value should be.
what it should be. Okay.
So what it does is basically if you go into Zillow or Realtor, and Mark's probably kill me. He's like, why do you say that? It's the only way I could say it to describe it to people. And you know how you put the markers in there? I want a house in Long Island. I want a house in Jersey or Westchester. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. Our thing is 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,000 square feet minimum, 24,000 square feet. It's got to have a certain size lot. Like, it's a bunch of things. We get raw data from the multi-state MLS. Feeds it into our computer. This puts the criteria on it. And then as long as it's a 60% to what the perceived market value is, puts it into another area. It gives 5 different of what values of what the home should be. If it's 60%, then it gets kicked out to our analyst. Our analyst checks it, makes sure that it's right. Then they make offers on the houses. And that's how we find most of our properties. Past 2 years.
So you get it at a 60% discount, and then you just put it back on the market at what you think it should be?
Well, we'll go.
Or do you fix it up?
Generally, most of those properties need a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, so we'll go in there. We'll rehab it. We'll use debt as our main component, and then I get the equity to go into it. Most houses are about 50 to 75, 80,000 of equity that has to go into it, and then we pay out a nice little 17.5% return, which is perceived to be a 12-month hold. Some are 10 months. We have 3 houses that are going on 18 months now that are going to be liquidated within the next 2 months.
So when you say a 12-month hold, you're trying to sell it.
We anticipate that it's going to be a 12
month until you sell it.
Yeah.
So basically,
talk to me in dumb people terms, right?
That's what I'm going to ask to make sure I understand. So you find a house, okay? Like, bang, you got a house, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,500 square feet. You put it to the algorithm. Algorithm says, all right, this is like 60% discounted of what you should be. So let's say it should be selling for $500,000, but it's only selling for 60% of that, so it's selling for $300,000, and you're like, okay, this is a deal. So you buy the house for $300,000, and then of the 60% that you think you should sell it for, you're going to take whatever portion you put $80,000 into it. So now it's $380,000.
Well, we know what before we go to contract, we already know how much.
You know how much you're gonna put in. So you find a house that you think okay, I could sell this house for $500,000, but it's on sale for $300,000. I'm going to buy it for 300.
Put 100,000.
I'm going to put 100 into it for 400, and then I'm going to sell it for what I think it should be, 500, and then you keep the profit.
100%.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And after seeing the property, looking at it, how much to an exact dollar amount what needs to be put in.
It's probably always more
around
than what you
10
think.
probably.
Sometimes it's less, but that's very rare. But yeah, a lot of
Do you
times,
overestimate it? Like if you look at a house,
we
and you're
do
like,
10 to 20% overestimation of what the work needs to be. So
Just
if it's
because-
100,000, we'll say 110,000, 115,000.
just because
Depending on
sometimes
the amount of work.
Yeah, you're
If
like,
it's
all
a
right,
lot
I'm
of work,
gonna.
we'll do 20%.
Yeah, I got to redo the kitchen, and then all of a sudden you're redoing the kitchen. Fuck, now I got to do all the fucking plumbing.
We
Like,
closed on
yeah.
a house last year, and so once we close on a house, there's an in-house wholesaler. Now a wholesaler will just take a property and sell it for 10-20% profit. Let's just call it that. So we'll say, all right, we bought it for 300 with closing costs and everything. We're into it for 320. Put it out on the market for 350, 360, or whatever.
As is.
Yeah, just before we can get in there, before we can get the permits
Yeah,
going.
so
and
that's
everything.
like we're not really.
No. Well, if we can make 20,000-30,000 just in a month, go for it.
But that's where he's like, we're not going to put anything into it. I'm just
No. This is while we're getting the
You
permits
find
and
you
stuff.
said you find is that a marketplace? There's a wholesale real estate buyers.
So wholesalers are like realtors, but they don't have licenses. They literally take it. They'll get it under contract, which is what we have it under. Let's call it 300,000, and we have them just find somebody to buy it. We'll say we have 123 Main Street. Put it out there for 350. People are like, okay, I'll take it. Sometimes.
So they're just finding a buyer for you.
They're like you,
That's
but
it. There's no rhyme. We'll take one contract for 300,000, and simultaneously on closing day, we don't even close. Technically, we didn't run out and closed on it. We're just in contract. We'll sell to somebody for 350, and it's all one closing.
So you find a
This
you
is
find
very
a home.
rare,
No, I
very
know,
rare,
but you
very
find a home for 300,000, then you put the closing costs in for 325, and you're like, all right, I have a contract now to buy this for 325. And the same day you have a wholesale, it goes out. Like I go out and be like, hey, I found somebody. I showed them this house, and they want to buy it for 350.
By the way, this
and
is
I
a
got
whole business.
And I got a
this.
contract from this person. I showed them the house, and they said, yeah. I said, hey, I can get you this house for 350,000. They said, cool. So I get a contract with them that they're going to buy the house for 350, and basically you sign over the contract that you have from 325 to them for 350, and you keep.
Is it kind of like a finder's fee almost? Because like you find the property, you can get in contract first.
If you want
I actually heard about that business. That a lot of people do that. They just go on and they find homes that they know are discounted,
It's a crazy business.
and they get a contract to buy, and at the same moment they get a contract to buy from somebody else
It's a
for more
there's
money
a
than they put.
whole business.
I day and age of social media, you see all these type of people that do stuff like that. And they're like,
They
it's so
train
easy.
people.
Just go to your local legislation
Yeah, it's
state
not that
website,
easy.
find the website, and see where the houses are foreclosed. You get it, and I'm like, it's not that easy. You can't make.
I think what
Yeah, but the hardest part is trying to find somebody to buy it in the amount of time that you're going to close on it.
Yeah.
That's
because
crazy.
then you don't have to sit on it,
Yeah.
and you don't have to actually really put down the $325,000.
You don't have to put
You don't have to put anything down.
10,000,
And then you do it,
You just got to put like a.
You try to do it within a year because what is that? Capital.
No. No. It's just 12 months. So it's like 90 days to rehab it traditionally, and then you try and take the rest of the 8 months to sell it. Last year it was tough because it was a tough market.
It's a very tough market.
Yeah. Well, it's getting a little bit. It's.
So now, do you think about? Because I don't know the whole laws with this, but I know that if you have a property, and you sell your property, okay, you have 300,000, you put into it 100, you're at 400, you sell it for 500, you have $100,000 in profit. Isn't there a 90-day rule where if you take the 100,000
1031 exchange,
and then you can put it into a new, you don't have to pay tax on it?
I thought it was a year. I thought it was up to a year.
Yeah.
It's
No. It's
90
some
days?
states are 45 days.
45 days. Do you deal a lot with that to try to minimize your taxes?
No, because a 1031 exchange, it has to go into an investment property, and by definition, investment property
Is
is
not
you have
flipping?
you have to go into it with the intent that you're going to get income from it. So, you can't go into an investment with the intent to sell.
It's got to be like a long
long term.
So that's why we can't do that.
So you can't. If you were to take that 100,000 and put it into like an Airbnb property that you're going to rent out, that could be a 1030. What is 1031?
1031
exchange? Because now that property is going to be a long term hold. Where
Yep.
Now, if you were to put it into a property, if you put it into a property that you hold for more than 12 months, like you have a property, is that a gray area?
Tax code is you can't go into the purchase with the intent to sell.
with the intent to sell.
Yeah.
But how do they know? Like, I feel like there's a gray area because you could put
That's why it's
because you could put it into a property that you say I'm going to rent it out for a year.
It's the federal government.
You know, because I feel like because what do they mean by intent? Because you can say, all right, I got this profit $100,000. Now I'm going to take this $100,000 and I'm going to go put it on a down payment for a house that is $500,000 that I'm going to rent out. But then a year later, I'm like, I don't want to rent it out anymore. I want to sell it.
Right. So you could do that once, maybe twice. But if there's a pattern of it, they're gonna be like, "Yo, what are you doing?"
The Fed is always watching. The Fed is always watching.
They want their freaking cut.
Yeah,
I'm sure you could probably get away with it a couple
It's bullshit.
times.
They want Uncle Sam wants his cut. And I don't want to give you their
now. Do you
frickin'
have
cut.
like contractors that you utilize all across the country in all your different spots?
So we do. One thing that we learned was to find contractors that are licensed, number one, obviously, but then also bonded. And what bonded means is if you have a project, you're looking to put $150,000 into
promise
it.
that they're going to do for that.
Right, because we had this guy that was in our construction, and what we do is we don't, if somebody needs it, we'll pay it out, but we pay it out in draws, and they don't get their first draw until they do some work, like let's say demolition, or if there's stuff still in there, clean that out, and then we'll pay a little bit for that. So they got to do something first, and then they get paid. So we kind of hedge ourselves a little bit with the contractor. But this one construction manager we had was like, "Hey, Mark, I think we got to give this guy $15,000 up front. He's going to do a great job." I heard it. I wasn't there, but I heard it outside my office. And he's like, "Yo, listen, if we give this guy $15,000, he's going to take off." He's like, "Nah, dude, he says he needs it to do this,
Took
and
off.
this."
Gone.
Never seen him again.
Gone.
Yeah.
And that's where the bonded came into play.
So you have to take out a bond even for residential projects.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was only I thought you get bonded. Projects
Usually
for
that's what it is for the
commercial.
bigger projects, but
Yeah.
so we don't get screwed.
I was
but
gonna
that-
ask
that-
you, do
that
you
makes
do-
that keeps you safe because you're saying, hey, if you're going to do it for $100,000, we want to guarantee you because we're locked in.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was going to ask you, is it strictly residential or you do anything?
So we started off single family residential. Of recently, just this year, we have a project in Dallas, Texas, where we bought 3 acres of land, and we're building. Was going to be 5 townhouses. Apparently, townhouses are harder to get. They want you to have an HOA.
You should do barndominiums down there.
We went,
So my wife and I wanted to.
we went to condos.
Okay.
We're doing, I think it's.
So
I think
you're
it's
looking
still
at
5
land
condos.
then too. Does your
Now we are.
algorithm
Yeah,
do
yeah.
some land and
We're
stuff?
looking at 2 properties in Yonkers.
Yonkers.
Can you help me
Yonkers.
find some land in Texas then?
We come across it all the time.
If you find any
Now-
good pieces
and now-
of land in Texas,
and so you help people like Justin.
But stuff for that for no, we don't. Really,
no,
like if I have
guess-
something, I could send it to you, but we don't.
No, because you're in it for your. No,
you're
in
the
it for
business.
your-
You would like do that and be like, hey, I had a piece of land, and you put a couple things on it, and then I would be like, hey, can I buy that from
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
And
that's
then
what
you
it
would
is.
sell it to me. You would make a profit. I would get the thing that I want.
And so your.
But what you would look for is like you want that out in the rural areas. You don't want it in the cities.
Yeah, we want it. We don't want it in we want it like. So the idea is we want to find a piece of land.
You want to be like 40 minutes from a city where you're not
Yes.
near things, but you're close.
We want to be
enough.
on the lake life. So there's a couple of lakes out there. There's like
By the way, I do like the barndominiums.
yes. So
What's next to barndominium?
So my wife and so a barndominium is
Go to the Google.
so it's a combination between a condominium and a barn. Okay, so a barn,
You have all the amenities of a home, but it's built like kind of like a warehouse.
but it's a barn. And the
But it's a
thing
barn.
is where the reason why down up here you don't really do it. Okay,
Oh, yeah, those are
down
nice.
south you do it because
It's
with a
not
barndominium
extreme weather.
it's a concrete floor and it's just a big barn. Okay, big open space, and then there's a couple of rooms
Tin
like the
roof.
bedroom, right? And it's just a big open space.
Mm.
So they put a barn on the property, concrete floor, and then
Dirt cheap, by the way.
and they put a
Yeah.
couple of rooms in there. The reason why it's advantageous down south is because you don't really need to worry about keeping the place warm, so you don't have to put a flooring in. You can get away with concrete flooring and just put area rugs everywhere. Because it's so warm down there, all you have to worry about is cooling it, and concrete floor is great for cooling. You're not going to do it up here because a concrete floor in the middle of the winter is going to be your bill is going to be crazy trying to heat it. So up here you might do you have to do a full floor and everything.
You got thermal flooring and
So
whatnot.
what we wanted to do is we go to Texas a lot because my wife's family's down there,
Where?
outside of Austin.
Yeah.
So they're further, they're like an hour outside of Austin. They're further south. They're kind of
By Houston?
no, Houston's where her sister lives. So Houston's way over here. San
Oh.
Antonio's here. Austin. So they're kind of in like San Marcos, Gonzales, Luling. I don't know if you know like New Braunfels area. Seguin is another one.
I do like
Again.
Texas.
So we wanted to find a piece of land, put a barndominium on it, and Airbnb it out, and then when we want to go visit our family, we can just use it. And barndominiums, like you can build an entire barndominium for like 150 grand.
Nothing.
Damn.
So you get a piece of land down there, couple of acres for $50,000. You get a barndominium. You're in it for $200K. And there's places that do full turnkey. Like
It's quick too.
It's like full, like within 6 months, full build everything. I contacted one. Shout out to 1845 barndominiums. I found them on Instagram, and they were like, and I said, "Do you guys do everything? Like, if we find the land, you'll grade the land, you'll prep it, you'll do everything." They go, "We do everything. We hand you the keys at the end." And I'm like, "That's fucking great." So that's like one of the, now up here we want to do something similar upstate in the mountains.
Yeah.
But that's more of like you have to build like that more might be a cabin, like a small maybe
it takes
2-bedroom
a lot more
cabin.
work.
Insulated.
You got to insulate and everything. Down there, they don't finish. There's no flooring. They just pour a concrete slab and they can put the building on top of it.
Yeah.
And they put all the finishes and stuff.
Now that you're talking about it, I've seen a lot of like people that I follow down south.
Yeah.
They have a lot of houses like that.
And then what you do is like to build a room, like you have this gigantic big frame. Like let's say this is the barndominium, right? To build a
Just
room,
put like a divider.
all they do is they
Put a
just build
wall.
up 2 walls and
Yeah.
they fucking screw it into the side and you build a room. You don't need to like insulate the walls or nothing. It's like
The downside to it, now that you're having kids, is
yes.
So what
there's
is
no privacy.
So what is? I might say it wrong. WIOM, right?
MIOYM.
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 He keeps saying the Y. Yeah. He keeps
You
saying
can
like
go for
Wyoming.
it. You gotta stick to it now.
MIOYM.
You know what you got to do is you got to open up a secondary location in Wyoming and call it Wyoming.
Yeah, that's a good idea. There you go. So what is? I always wanted to ask you, what does that mean? Because it's kind of a tongue twister.
So Mark is a spiritual person. He's into the Bible and stuff. So it was a mirror image of your mind to start off with. Then we had a consultant, and he's like, "Yeah, you got to get rid of that. You got to make it more investment based." So now it's making investments, offering you more. I don't know. I forgot.
Oh, MIOM.
MIOYM.
Making investments,
offering you more.
offering you more. Gotcha.
I thought it was like my home, like my home. Like
That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
And apparently it's a Hebrew word or Jewish word, whatever the right terminology is.
So what is it? I'll look it
I
up.
don't know.
I'm gonna
It's a meaning of my own.
You're Greek, right? You're Greek.
Greek.
Custom-
Well, I'm American, but
nationality or
Greek, Italian.
I like that.
Scottish,
I like that. I'm American.
Welsh. Well, everybody for the longest time, people are like, "What are you?" I'm like,
I'm American.
Yeah. My father's grandparents came over, and then my mother's ancestors came over like after the Mayflower. Like they've been here for a while.
They've been here for a hot minute.
A long time.
Damn, we're talking about
Yeah,
the Mayflower, 1492, Timbuktu. Damn.
Yeah, I'm American. It doesn't get more American.
Yeah, no,
I
you are American.
I'm a mutt.
Yeah. What are you? I'm American.
Yeah.
I'm not Jewish. I'm not Italian. I'm not German. I'm American.
You get all these people that are like, "Oh, I'm Italian. I'm this, that." Oh, when did the family come over here? Oh, it's like 16 generations ago.
Yeah.
So you're American?
Yeah.
No, I'm Italian.
See, like for me, my grandparents came over. So like, okay, I'm
Second.
I'm German, right? My grandparents came over, had my mother, then they went back to Germany. So I'd say, yeah, I'm like a German American. But like for you were saying, okay, if you're like, do you even know you're the person?
You do know why Germans have very shallow chests here, right?
How very shallow.
Because when they're doing freaking weight.
You know what we call them, right? We call them the German missile.
Oh, nice.
They dubbed it.
Does your wife call you that, or?
He wishes.
She calls me the hammer.
No, my bachelor. What's that?
So you're not a Viking. You're German.
She calls me the hammer.
No, I'll
take Viking.
I'm Scandinavian, so I got the Viking blood in me. They call me.
So I got one of you.
They got the Italian. They call me the Italian Viking.
It's funny.
What was the show? Vikings.
Yeah.
What's his name?
It's funny that
I didn't watch
says,
the show, but there's a show like that. Yeah, my father loves it.
It's funny that you call me the Viking though, because Floki.
Did you watch that show?
No.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about the show, The Vikings.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's
One of the
guy.
characters.
Oh, okay.
He was like the number 2 guy.
Oh.
This guy's amazing.
Damn.
Crackhead.
Dude, you should have
fall
seen.
in love with him.
You should have seen. So back
Watch
like maybe 8 years ago, 7 years ago, I had long hair. I had like put my hair in like a ponytail. That would have been like shaved
like
side.
Yeah,
that would have been Viking.
And you were into death metal and stuff like that?
Yeah, that was Viking. People called me, like when I would go to the gym, they'd be like, "Oh, the Vikings here."
Yeah,
that's because I looked like a.
Yeah.
Definitely.
When you sent me the invite, I saw your last name. Like I didn't know your last name. I was like, "Oh, this guy's definitely a Viking."
I'll take it though.
Jamin.
No, so I would say so. That's like jerk because okay, I would say, if you know, like if you, I don't want to say had a relationship, but like some people say, yeah, I'm Italian. You're like, okay, well, who came over? Like, I don't know. What do you mean, like, you don't know? It's like, way back. I'm like, okay, you're of Italian descent, but like, you don't even know the person that came over here. Like, I know my grandparents they came over here. I know them. Okay, they spoke fluent German. That's all. But in your case, it's like, it was 16 generations. Like,
No,
no, but you're saying with the people that say
my
that.
mother's parents are they're
the Mayflower,
bro.
bro.
Yeah, it was a long.
Christopher Columbus, 1492.
Let me ask you, how far back do you know that your family tree?
Last week.
No, I know
how far back?
All the way back.
How far is all? You don't know all the way back. Do you know when the birth of Adam and Eve? You know that far back?
It's very aggressive.
He's got you there. He does.
No. Like I know
1700s.
No, like my last name Josephson. That was the first name. I mean, they came over to Ellis Island.
Would you change your name?
Yeah, they changed it. Yeah.
You know how they do that?
It was Johannes.
Because it wasn't. It was illegible.
No, because what they do is
I think it was Johannes Branus. My great, so whatever it was back then came over.
You could be Floki.
But you know how they get Joseph? You know how they get like the Josephson?
Yeah,
the son of Joseph.
It's the son of Joseph.
The father was Joseph.
Yeah, so like, no, your name's Josephson.
Yeah.
Fuck your last name. Your name's Joseph.
Yeah. But like in my house upstate, like there's it's like not like a family crest, but like a family picture, and it says Johannes Branus, and it has like a family history.
That's a sick name though.
Oh,
Johannes Branus,
bro. That name was sick.
So how far back was that? 1700s?
I gotta look back at our family tree. My dad
when they came over.
1986.
Yeah.
1991. It goes back.
We have a family tree that goes back to like mid 1700s.
That's a good question.
Like an actual tree where it's like my mother did it. So we have us, then my parents, and then it keeps going up and up and up and up, and we have it to like 1750 or something. Ooh. Which is pretty cool, and I'm like, fuck, 17. I'm like, damn,
it goes back pretty far. We have a family Bible. It's like fucking yay thick.
A family Bible?
Yeah, my grandfather used to have it, and I'm like, Dad, what's this old-ass book? It looks like a book from like Harry Potter. It has like the little latch on top of it.
A leather-bound
so it's
Bible?
definitely not Catholic.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it goes back that far.
I don't know what it
is. I just find that wild. If you can trace it back, because some people, if you know your grandparents, your great-grandparents, you're fortunate enough to have met them, and if you talk to them, like, all right, where did your parents come from?
Yeah.
Where did they come? Where did your grandparents?
So my wife's Croatian. So when we go to Croatia, her parents came over here. So when you go to Croatia, you talk to them. They know like their lineage, like to a T.
Well, what's wild too is when you don't realize it. Us as Americans, we don't realize like our country is only 250 years old.
Yeah, it's a
okay. You go over
blip on the map.
Yeah,
you go over there like when we go to Germany. My mother, they have the oldest. We went to a brewery there called
Michelob.
What the fuck is the name?
The German pretzel.
Heineken.
Bayer. I don't remember the name of it, but I can Google it. It's the oldest continuously operated brewery in the world, and it opened its doors in 1030.
What?
1030 AD.
Yeah,
and it never closed.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
nuts.
like, I'm thinking about it. I'm like.
Their taxes go back that far?
I said so this was a few years ago, so I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, it's 2021, 2022. I'm like,
this is a business.
I said, so in 2030, they're going to celebrate their 1,000th year.
Yeah. The United States hasn't even been
right. So
around.
When you say you go to Croatia and they go all the way back, it's like because they've been around for thousands of years.
So
it's like they have so much history. Yeah. We have what? We're a little blip on the map.
In Croatia, her cousin's husband, they live in Belgium, but they have a couple places in Croatia. So he's like, come. He's got a little vineyard there. He's like, come, take a look. So we're walking in the back, and there's all piles of rock. I'm like, what are these piles of rock? He's like, oh, good question. It goes back to the Crusades when people were walking from Europe to Israel.
Sick.
I was like, so what are the piles of rock? He goes, dead bodies. Those are graves. I was like, what?
What? So there's bodies underneath there?
That's crazy. Yeah, you could tell like it's somewhat the shape of a body, but it's old.
Damn.
Like when was the Crusades?
Wasn't it in like 10? Let's see.
I think it was like the hundreds. Wasn't it?
When was the?
Wasn't it like in like 1980 with Indiana Jones?
It was 1095.
Damn.
Oh, your brewery's older.
Yeah, so I found it. So it's called the Weihensteppen. So Weihen Steffen, Stephan. The
Farfenugen?
Weihensteffen Brewery in Freising, Bavaria, Germany, which is producing beer. So it's 1040, not 1030. Since 1040, the brewery is located on the site of the Weihensteppen Abbey, a Benedictine monastery that was founded in 725.
I gotta say those monasterian beers.
Dude, like just think about how far back, like 1,000 years ago.
What's a monastery beer?
Dude, it's just
the monks.
And that's what
they make beer.
Yeah, that's their thing. That's how they made money.
What? I thought they just stayed quiet.
No, well, that too.
And like, think about this one. So the oldest brewery in America was DJ Yingling and Son is a family who owned operated brewery in Pottsville,
PA.
1829. So 150 years versus 1,000.
10 times.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's what when you think about it. Okay, we have the American history and stuff, and it's cool to go, but go over
200 years.
Go.
They have buildings that are 800 years old, 1,000.
My mother was in one. My mother went to she was walking around in a village, and there was a hospital that had founded 1310, and she's like, I'm standing like when I went to Rome. I went to Italy. We were in Rome, and we went to the Roman Forum. And you're walking on like the cobblestones.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, that like this is the original road that they built.
Yeah.
The original road. I'm like, can you tell me something?
Yeah.
How come they built this road thousands of years ago? It's still standing here. Meanwhile, we have construction on the BQE every fucking year.
You can't even get it right.
We got potholes everywhere you go.
Like our roads are falling apart, and this road's been here for thousands of years.
Well, and it's gravel.
It's just, but it's
land
wild
now.
to just be immersed in that. You can't fathom it.
So if you go to Greece, there's a similar
that's a
area.
great place I want to go to.
And there's a little it just looks like when you go hiking, it's just not grass, it's gravel, but so that's all it is. And they're like, oh, this is I forgot I'm gonna screw it up big time. But like, oh, this has been around since 4. It's like, what?
The year 4.
It's like what?
It's been around. Wait, say that again. It's been around 4.
Yeah, I'm making that up. I'm exaggerating big time, but I'm like. So this is where like some of the Olympics were done and stuff. I'm like, so this is where everything took place. Like, yeah,
it's
I'm
just
like,
wild.
And it's not year 4, but it's like 1,000.
Yeah, it's crazy old.
That's like the Pantheon. The Pantheon is like 2,000 years old.
Yeah,
and it's funny when they were telling us about the Pantheon. They have these huge like columns, these big marble columns. And the lady was telling us, like, do you know how they got these columns here? I'm like, what? They go, slaves. They go, this marble is not from here. This marble is not native to this land. This marble comes from Africa. So they had slaves carry these solid marble columns thousands of miles to put, and if it broke, they got to walk all the way back and walk.
Get another one.
Damn.
I'm like, what the?
Now we can't even build a decent building.
And I'm looking at these things and I go, the.
Do you ever see like the different lines in the columns, like how heavy they are, and then they lined everything up perfectly?
And they built it thousands of years ago with
nothing,
with just
sticks.
With nothing, and it's still standing. Meanwhile, we build a building that falls down.
Tomorrow.
Like this building's been through.
I mean,
God
our history.
knows what.
You go back to look at New York City, all the old buildings, like those are all like true craftsmanship buildings. Like even you go to like the brownstones, the brownstones, the way those are built. Even
that's why they say when you get like a house, it's like this is
good
old.
Bones.
This is
good
old
bones.
Craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Right.
Good
This is
bones.
old world
My
craftsmanship.
house is 1935.
Pre-war house, right? Yeah.
Have you ever looked at the if you looked at the wood and the nails that were used, 60, 70, 80 years ago versus what they use now?
Yeah.
It's like if you just look at the cross section of the wood, it's like totally different.
Well,
because now you have all this like pressure treated and and the nails that they used back then were like thick honking nails. And now it's
where I live, it was built in the 1940s for the guys who worked on the railroad. We re-sheetrocked our bedroom, and I had to take the ceiling down. And the plaster that was in the ceiling, it was like this thick, and the nails were this long and like crazy thick. So when you took it down, it sounded like a body. Boom, boom. And I was like, damn, this is crazy loud. But I'm like, how did people put this
And then you got to put your net.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding,
dude.
Or a screw gun.
Well, think about it. Like, you ever try to take apart, like when you're doing demolition or something, and you're trying to take apart like a piece of furniture that was made 60 years ago versus it's like you're
like this. You're like this. Come on.
You can't get this thing apart.
Did you ever buy anything from Bob's?
Yeah. Oh, forget it.
Don't even make it in the door half the time.
It's just crazy.
I have a dresser from Bob's, and it's a fucking piece of garbage.
Yeah.
The drawers fall apart. I'm like, we got to get a fucking new one. This is ridiculous. This is so stupid.
Wow,
I told my wife, I go, no more.
No more Bob's ever. No more Bob's ever. We did it once, never again.
But IKEA, though. IKEA furniture stays.
Hey, I got a couple pieces of IKEA. You got to put it together, but
it stays together.
Here's the thing with IKEA, though, is like, It's so cheap that you're kind of like, I don't even care if it falls apart.
But it stays
and then it kind of stays a little
How
bit.
about when you buy a shirt? When you buy a shirt, you're like, screw it, it's $5. You have it for your life.
Yeah.
You spend $150 on a T-shirt, lasts you a week.
I agree. And it's like you don't even wear it.
No.
It's like, I think, who was it? I think I was watching someone, Kevin O'Leary. He's like, you buy 7 pairs of jeans that cost $100. You wear 1 pair for 5 years. You have 100 pairs of shoes. They all cost $200. You wear 1 or 2 pair. You could have put all that money into something that makes you at least average 8% every single year and made money. And I'm like, it's so true.
He's always talking about that.
Yeah,
You ever see the iPhone thing? From the time the first iPhone came out, if you put the amount of money that you would put into each phone, what would it be worth now? It's
seen that.
Stupid.
You want to hang yourself.
Yeah, no.
Well,
damn.
Kevin O'Leary talks about the coffee thing. So he says, he goes,
you go to Starbucks.
you go to Starbucks every single day, you buy $5 cup of coffee. Every day. Every single day, you buy $5. He goes, if you take that $5, you just make coffee at home. He goes, you invest it in Starbucks stock. It's $5 a day, $150 a month in Starbucks stock. He goes, in 10 years of just making coffee at home, it's like you'd have, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 in Starbucks stock that's making you a return every single year.
So I'm a big proponent. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Of making my lunch. I rarely ever buy lunch.
Yeah.
I'm a big ever since I started working. Like I still make peanut butter and jelly sometimes.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich is the bomb.
Thank you.
PB&J, man.
You ever make fun of me when they see me?
Bro,
You're eating a
hold
peanut
on.
butter and jelly sandwich?
Come on.
You ever have peanut butter and banana sandwiches?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Peanut butter and
First
jelly
of all,
bar, I think so.
Bro.
Go once that you work out, you eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's shit." It's not, because you get the carbs from the bread, you get the protein and the fat from the
Peanut butter.
and you get the sugar from the jelly. You're good. You burn it off. And
That's
you feel
like a
great
peanut
after.
butter and banana. If you want to bulk up, peanut butter and banana sandwiches, man.
Nice glass of milk.
And a glass of milk, yeah.
I can't do the milk with the food.
Oh, God.
See, what I do now is
did.
you do the milk, you do the like protein shakes. You do a cup of milk with banana, peanut butter, protein powder.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a thick shake.
Remember when people used to eat, drink milk with dinner?
Well, you just said that.
Yeah, I can't do
No,
that.
not peanut butter and
Not
jelly.
with dinner. Not with dinner.
No,
My grandfather,
No.
when he would sit down,
I drink milk
Can't
with
do it.
cookies, peanut butter and jelly, and cereal.
I never got into milk. I
No.
didn't drink it as a kid. No.
You know, Arnold used to drink like a gallon of milk a day.
To bulk up.
You want to talk about marketing, right? I used to, when I was a little kid, the advertisement was milk makes strong bones.
Yeah.
I would make it a point when I would get home, drink a little
gotta
glass
drink
of
it.
milk, and I was like,
Dude,
I need strong bones.
listen,
and I would
listen.
do it every day.
Listen, I firmly believe that I'm a case study for milk and strong bones, because when I was younger, I drank a lot of milk. Like, ask my mother. I was drinking. She would go through 2 gallons a week. I drink a ton of milk. Either I was chocolate milk in the morning, or I'd be drinking milk with breakfast. I was always drinking milk, glass of milk, like every single day. And I've only broken 1 bone in my entire life. I fell out of a tree 2 stories up. I was in a tree yelling at my friend across the street. Branch snapped. I fell down. I hit another branch on the way down, twisted my body, and I landed back first onto a bike. Didn't break a single bone.
Well, I've never drank milk, and I've only broken ribs and toes.
I'm like, I don't.
I broke a finger. I broke my.
Yeah, I've never broken.
I think about. I might have broken like toes and fingers, but you don't
know it.
You don't know. Like
I only
playing
know 'cause my
basketball,
father-
I've probably broken one.
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
tape
you
it up and
definitely
keep
did.
fucking playing.
Yeah.
But a
That's
wrist,
how I broke all my fingers.
wrist, I definitely broke, because that thing was like halfway through my wrist. This from
Did
my
you have a
hand
cast on it?
was like this.
You're German though. You're built a little differently.
I was playing hockey and I fell down.
Far from Nugent.
And I landed like this, and it just snapped this bone.
so you had a cast on it.
And I had a cast, and I had to learn how to write
It's like
lefty.
I probably broke it.
No, well, it's funny because
I think you broke it.
I was younger. I was like in
Probably
my
broke it.
teens,
Yeah.
but nobody was home because my parents worked. My parents were both working, and I came home from school and I was playing hockey, and my sister was home, so she was babysitting me but she was home. She was 4 years older, so she was watching me, and I come in playing hockey, and I'm crying, and I'm like, my sister's like, what happened? I was like, I'm just crying, I don't know. And she calls up my dad, and my dad's like, is it broken? She takes one look at my arm. She's like, I think it's broken. She goes, how do you know? She goes, trust me, it's broken. Because
like
it was
an L.
literally like,
He has
she goes,
2
his
elbows.
arm
You had a
goes, and
90-degree angle.
and like, she goes, it's broken. And then when they said it, my dad's like, it was the grossest sound I've ever heard. They go, because you have one guy holds your shoulder, and the other guy says one, and he goes, it sounded like somebody like popped a balloon, like pop. And it was
My dad in his senior year of football broke his leg, and the when I was a senior in high school, we played the same team, and the coach was still the same coach. And my dad went to say, "Hey, what's up?
Josephson, don't break your leg today."
He said, "I still remember that night when you broke your leg because it was the grossest sound I've ever heard in my life."
Now go out there and kick some ass.
Now go out there and break a leg.
Yeah, literally go break a leg. But I was like, I think thank God I've never broken anything like that. But I can't imagine that sound.
So you said your parents were working. You came up. So when growing up, my parents are divorced. Lived with my mother when we were younger, and my mother went back to school, started teaching. So she would wake us up, but our alarm would be there to set it. Like she would just wake us up, just get out of our sleep, and then she'd go to work. So we had to get ourselves dressed, go to school, come home. If we played sports, we played sport. We had to ride our bike there, come home. I now found out it's called latchkey kids. Like you have your key and everything.
Latchkey kids, yeah.
That's what it was called. So my daughter, one day we were having trouble trying to get, mind you, the school's maybe a mile away. She's like, I would never walk home. I'm like, why not? Just come home. She's
Yeah,
like,
I walked to school.
Yeah.
We walked to school
Rain,
and walked
snow,
home.
sleet, it doesn't matter.
Kindergarten, my mother walked me for like the first 3 or 4 months, but there was a girl that lived like we live in an apartment complex, so she was at the end of the street where the complex ends. There was houses, and she lived right there. And she would walk us to school from kindergarten all through high school and everything. We walked to school. My daughter was like, "There's no way." I literally called my mother up. "Yo, Ma, like when did we start walking to school?" She's like, "I don't know, like 3 months into kindergarten."
Yeah. I remember walking to school. So I walked to school every single same thing as you. I walked to school. The only time I didn't was when we went to elementary school. But you got on the bus. Walk to the bus stop. Bus takes you to. But from middle school and high school, I walked to school because it was right down the block. And so from where I lived, you go down the block and then across the main road. There was the middle school, and then there was a gigantic field that the middle school used, and then behind that was the high school. Now, in the wintertime, right, what we used to do is so you can go to the main road, and then if you want, you could go to the right and then down the plowed road, which was straight lane that went all the way to the high school. So obviously the cars would go. That was plowed. But it was longer because you had to go down and then up. So what you could do is you walk through the middle school, out the back of the middle school, across the field, and it's quicker. So in the wintertime, nowadays they close for like a half an inch of snow. They didn't fucking close. No, we had a foot of snow on the ground, foot and a half. They don't care, right? Go to school. So we had a snowstorm, and there was like a foot of snow on the ground, and it was fresh. We had to go to school. I'm like, all right, well, it's cold. I'm not walking the long way. Let's go right through right through the field, right? And I remember, like, all right, start walking through the middle school, out the back. We go into the field. About halfway through the field, I have no longer my right shoe. It's gone. It's like,
that's how much snow there was?
So you're walking through, and all of a sudden I pick my foot up, shoe's gone. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, that's gonna suck.
So now, like, you can't find it. It's like, it's
in the abyss.
It's down there. It's somewhere. I'm like, shit. All right. So that whole school day, one shoe, and my foot was frozen.
You went to school one shoe.
Couldn't find it. It's gone.
Damn.
You're like, all right, we're gonna run through. You run through. All of a sudden, shoe's gone. I'm like,
so wait, hold on.
Where'd it
Now
go?
the question is, did you go through the whole day with one shoe on, or did you take them both
No,
off?
I had one shoe. I had one shoe. It was a good story.
You walked around all day with one shoe.
I think I actually went to my locker and got like my basketball shoes and
Yeah.
used those. But it's just like now you're halfway through and you got the rest of the snow and you're like, well, I guess all right, screw it. Foot's soaked now, so might as well just finish
That's
it.
got to be cold too.
It was freezing.
Yeah.
But nowadays you get a little powder and like, let's close the school.
Oh wait, we think it's gonna snow a lot. You're closed.
Yeah.
And now they go, okay, you know what? We're gonna do remote. Everybody log on.
Yeah, that's bullshit too.
Yeah,
Fuck
they don't really
no.
do that by us.
Go to school, okay?
Do you
Go to school or
remember?
don't?
I don't know if you guys are old enough for this. You had to watch the
definitely.
thing. And
Yeah,
your
you have to
school
wake
would
up
come
at like
across.
yeah.
Come on,
6 a.m.
So I
You're
lived in Nutley, so it was like the last. So not the last, but later in
At
the
the end.
alphabet. And I'm like, come on. And then like my mother and my brother would go, "Yeah, what's up?" Oh, gee. Oh, come on.
I gotta
wait again. Jesus Christ.
And then by that time they probably added more schools in. And you're like, fuck.
God.
The best.
Yeah, I remember that. Now you don't do that. Now you get a freaking text or an email or
Yeah,
something.
you got a phone call.
Those are the
anyway.
good old
Text.
days.
Calls, emails. It's so crazy.
Those are the good old days, man.
Man, well, Rob, coming to the end here, brother.
Yeah.
We're at the end. Hour and 53, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been almost 2 hours. I feel like
Good episode, man.
Damn, we've been going a long.
It's like a
time.
Rogan episode.
Yeah, we fucking killed
It's a
that one.
lengthy one.
That was long.
Yeah, I
That was-
lasted. That's
Yeah,
good.
it went by fast, right?
Yeah, my wife will appreciate that.
Yeah. She had 2 hours of alone time. So,
Honey, that was too fast. What are you talking about? It's 2 hours.
yeah, we're here forever.
2 hours.
I said that never to my wife.
Yeah, no, never. No, I don't think every man could. They say they do, but they
That's a
don't.
little aggressive.
What's Billy Madison? You knew a guy did that? No, but you can imagine.
You can imagine.
Yeah.
Who was
But,
that?
friend of mine,
Rogan
him and
or
her.
Somebody? Why are you so fast? I'm only in it for myself.
Yeah.
Bill Burr. Bill Burr.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm only in it for myself.
Yeah.
He's hysterical. He's
He's a man.
hysterical.
But we're coming to the end here. We appreciate you coming on the Burn Down podcast. We'd like to give you the red carpet here and just kind of plug away social medias, how people can find you,
Websites.
anything that's coming up,
Anything.
anything that you can do to plug yourself.
Special
We don't
events
have much
you got.
coming up, but we, Rob_Costomiris on Instagram, Robert Costomiris on LinkedIn, the MIOYM group. That's about it.
What's the
Nice and
website for?
easy.
What's the website for?
MIOYM, not a W.
YOM.
MIOYM.com.
And not the founder, the president.
No.
.com.
The president of MIOYM. And we won't do our signature goodbye. We'll say
What's your signature goodbye? I want to hear that.
Right here.
cheers, chin chins.
Cheers, chin chin.
But today we're going to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. We'll see you on the next one.
Chin chin.